right, greetings and salutations, everyone. My name is Andrew Kirchhoff, and welcome to our Saturday live stream for Week 10 of the 2022 fantasy football season. Over the course of the next 2 hours, I'm going to be trying to answer as many fantasy football-related questions that I possibly can. Of course, in order to try to help you guys get the best possible advice, be sure to go ahead and include your scoring format whenever you ask a question. It certainly does help out a lot. If there's no scoring format involved in the question, I'm just going to assume that it's a half PPR, meeting everyone in the middle, whether you do play in a standard league or in a full PPR league. I want to thank you guys for already joining us. A couple things that you can see on screen, of course. To the left of me, we have Prize Picks. If you guys want to continue to play daily fantasy, check that out. Later today, we're going to be going over a couple entries that you could potentially make. A couple of the entries that I'm specifically comfortable with, going more on given player statistics and or less. You can check that out. Use promo code Andrew today, and when you do so, you'll be given a first-time deposit match up to $100. So to pretty much doubling your first-time deposit up to $100. So if you're interested, check that out today. Thank you very much. Also, to the bottom right, we have rest of season rankings, week 10 thumbnail with Christian McCaffrey on it yesterday. Relatively later in the afternoon, I posted a video in regards to my top 36 running back rankings for the remainder of the season. If you guys haven't checked that out, that video is already posted on the channel. You can check that out today. I'm just going to leave it there just so everybody's aware that it's available because I was mentioning that I was going to put it out, but I put it out a little bit later than I intended to. But either way, it takes a lot of work to put out some of these, monster videos with 36 given players on it. Either way. Again, I already see that there's a couple donations sent in. You guys don't have to send in donations. All it does is give you a little bit of priority in terms of me answering your question at a quicker rate rather than having to wait and hope that I find your question in the chat with all the other questions that are continuing to filter through. Either way, if you guys haven't yet already, do me a favor, click that like button down below. Greatly appreciate that. Let's get into this, shall we? Here we go. All right, Jason starts us off today, has a question. I'm going to go ahead and throw up the chat on screen in just a moment. You know what? I'm going to prepare that first and foremost. Let's go ahead and pop this out. And let's move this to this monitor. And then we'll have this ready to go. So Jason has a question talking about David Montgomery or DK Metcalf this week in a half PPR. If I had to pick one, I'm playing DK Metcalf. As much as I like David Montgomery against the Lions, I still think that the potential for that matchup to go a little bit differently than we anticipate. Specifically, if David Montgomery is not able to break off a bigger run and score a touchdown, it's very unlikely that he scores it down on the goal line because Justin Fields has really been a guy that can take away those touches. Always Khalil Herbert in the area. I'd just rather just play DK Metcalf in that capacity this week against the Bucks. Sunday morning, very early. But yeah, I'd play DK there. As to your second question, Jason, in terms of a full point PPR scoring format, Cooper, Evans, or Palmer, I'm playing Mike Evans. Any chance I get, I'm playing him. I mean, the last 3 weeks, he's had 15, 11, and 11. Those are target counts that he's seen. Of course, obviously, he's dropped a couple touchdowns here and there, dropped a couple big plays. He'll clean it up. I'm perfectly fine with rolling with Evans there. Thank you, Jason. Appreciate that. Jan sent in a question, says, I'm currently 4-5 in a full PPR. Any recommendations for potential moves on this team? My quarterbacks are currently Burrow and Fields, along with Justin Herbert. Okay, so that's a problem in itself, right? Unless you're playing in a super flex format, you shouldn't be rostering 3 quarterbacks in any sort of capacity. So if you're comfortable with rolling with, Burrow or Fields, I don't really know if Herbert is a guy for the next couple weeks until we see the return of Mike Williams and Keenan Allen, which again, we've already seen that Keenan Allen is deemed out today. Until we see a confirmation that they're going to be returning, Herbert's not really a viable option. So it's a matter of picking between Fields and Burrow, maybe moving one or the other that you'd rather not roll with for the remainder of the season. As for your running backs, Najee Harris, Mixon, Swift, no problems there. I'm keeping all 3 of them and rolling with them. You have Kupp, you have Hopkins, Olave, nothing to move there. Godwin as well as your 4th wide receiver, and then Freiermuth, Everett as a tight end positional kind of pivot. I don't think I'm moving any of these positions. You've got a really strong base core of a roster. I'm just thinking if you can move one of these extra quarterbacks along with either Godwin or Najee Harris, which are kind of like your swinging 4th running back and wide receiver for an upgrade at one of those primary positions, it wouldn't be a bad play overall. Thank you, Jan. Appreciate it. Mark sends in a question, says PPR, McLaurin, Singletary, or David Montgomery. Okay. Amongst the group, I'm probably going to play McLaurin in a full PPR there. Yeah, I'm probably going to play McLaurin there in a full PPR. The second best option is probably David Montgomery, but as of right now, it's McLaurin. Now, the assumption and the question that many of you may be kind of thinking about is Josh Allen going to play? So this is what I know for sure. Everything that I've read thus far is leading towards the path of him most likely sitting. Now, that's not a guarantee. That's my assumption based on everything that I've read regarding the UCL injury, the strain, and what the organization, would probably feel safer, progressing with this week. That all being said, he could play. And if he plays, that's fantastic, especially for, the options. But if he doesn't, Devin Singletary could get a little bit more of a boost in terms of opportunity. That doesn't mean that an additional 3 or 4 rushing attempts is going to lead to many more points. It's not an automatic. Even though the offensive line is great, unfortunately, it's not an automatic, especially when, the Minnesota Vikings may be forcing Case Keenum to throw the ball, and they may just want to stop the run in its entirety. So it is tough to tell what exactly their game plan is going to be against them. But that's the current insight that I have in regards to whether or not Josh Allen would even be playing. But for right now, yes, we're going to go with McLaurin there. Thank you, Mark. Appreciate that. Black Jesus says, I have Allen and Brady. Do I play Brady for the security with the early game? Yeah, I mean, look, at this point, if in fact we don't have information regarding Josh Allen's, potential, I guess if he's not active, or at least there's no word by tonight as to whether or not he's going to be active, then yeah, you kind of have to play Brady. You're kind of put in that position. Otherwise, you're going to have to then pick up another quarterback and play them in the later window tomorrow, which if they are a better option, then sure, we could talk about what other options you have on your waiver wires. But if you don't have anybody else and it's going to be between, Tom Brady and then risking it between Case Keenum and Josh Allen, I just play Tom Brady at that point. Let's see here. Reflect sends in a question, says, who should I go with? Pick 2, please. Ayuk, Dotson, DPJ, and Scantling, full PPR. Ayuk is first and foremost there. The second best option, I know Jahan Dotson's back. I know Mecole Hardman is going to be out this week with the abdomen injury, so it does give a little bit more viability to the start of Marquez Valdes-Scantling. That even being said, it's still sketchy to play Marquez Valdes-Scantling, so I'm going to avoid that. If it's between Dotson and DPJ, I'm probably playing DPJ. He's just been a little bit too consistent as of late, and I don't know what kind of a rapport Dotson has with Heineke, so I'm probably just playing Ayuk and DPJ there. Thank you, Reflect. Let's see here. Drone97 says, in a full PPR scoring format, I have Swift, Sanders, Brian Robinson. Okay, if we're picking one of these potential 3 running backs, I would legitimately, if he's playing Washington, yes, I'm going to play DeAndre Swift there. Full practice on Friday. There's a reason why he's today's thumbnail. I'm thinking about the matchup as a whole. The Washington Commanders are a really good run-stopping defense. Even against one of the better run-blocking offensive lines, I would play DeAndre Swift over Miles Sanders this week. As for your follow-up, pick 2 between Godwin, Palmer, Sutton, and Judy. I'm playing Godwin and Palmer there. Again, Palmer should have another one of these better weeks. Jason Verrett just tore his Achilles. He's out for the season. That's 4 career injuries that have been extremely devastating for Verrett. I don't think he'll ever, from what I read, right? He's had 2 Achilles injuries, as in torn Achilles, and 2 ACL injuries in the last 4 years. That is ridiculous. So for right now, I'm avoiding playing those Denver receivers. Thank you, Drone. Michael Barton, thank you. What's up, Michael? How's it going? 12-team PPR. Pick 3 to start, please. We have DK, we have CeeDee Lamb, we have Josh Jacobs, we have Josh Palmer, and we have Jeff Wilson for Week 10 this week. Okay, so if it's a full PPR scoring format, I feel most comfortable rolling with Josh Jacobs, CeeDee Lamb, and DK Metcalf out of the bunch. All have tough matchups. Also, you're playing ETN, Mahomes, and Greg Dulcich already. Yeah, you're good to go. Play Josh Jacobs, CeeDee Lamb, DK Metcalf. Play your studs. No question about it. Thank you. Alexander, full PPR, Khalil Herbert, or Claypool. If I'm playing one over the other, I'm going to play Khalil Herbert. I think there's a higher chance of them getting more utilization out of him on the ground, getting more opportunities in comparison to what Claypool is going to see. Claypool will have a couple deep passing, opportunities that he could make a play on, and certainly, do a lot more with it in a singular play. Can make a 75-yard touchdown, happen out of nowhere. But if we're just talking about stability, opportunity, and those variables specifically against this defense with the Detroit Lions, I just rather play Herbert there. As for your follow-up question, Cousins or Herbert at the quarterback position? If I'm not mistaken, let me check my rankings that I've recently... I still have Justin Herbert ahead of him. Yeah, I have Justin Herbert at 13 at quarterback and Kirk Cousins at 15. So, yeah, I'm going to roll with Herbert there. Thank you. Dave424 says, sup, man, in a PPR format, Fournette or Aaron Jones, and Debo Samuel or DK Metcalf. I play Debo over DK, and then I follow that up by saying I'd probably rather play Fournette, just because I'm not 100% certain as to what capacity of Aaron Jones we're going to witness. That's my biggest concern. I don't know if that ankle injury is at a position to where we can trust him blindly. So I think I'd just rather roll with the Fournette play there. Thank you. Michael Barton says Jeff Wilson or Palmer this week in the flex. I would play Palmer this week, especially Michael Barton if it's your full PPR league. In regards to the players that you mentioned before, yeah, I'd rather play Josh Palmer this week. Thank you. Let's see here. Where are we at? All right, from New Orleans says, from the NOLA specifically was your name. Would you play Tony knowing that Hardman is out? We talked about this, I think, the other day. On Thursday night, after the Thursday night football game, we had a live stream here, and we talked about if Mecole Hardman is going to potentially miss, I think Kadarius Toney most likely fills into his position, because that's kind of what they've brought him in to be. Now, I want to confirm something before I continue on regarding this. I'm curious how many snaps Toney played out of the slot in comparison this last week. Let's see here. So if we're talking about receiving, so he played 58% of his snaps from the slot and 35% of them out wide. I'm curious, where's Mecole Hardman's typical contributions coming from? Mecole Hardman typically plays 58% from the slot, 37% from out wide. So they're pretty much the same kind of player. I think that he's going to fill in for him, most likely. And is he going to get as many touches? Probably not, but I still think that there's a chance that if that's your best case scenario, he could end up having a pretty decent week up against the Jaguars. So I don't mind it in any sort of capacity. Marvin Lewis sends in a question, says Dak or Brady this week? I'm going to go with Dak this week. And then your follow-up question is start one, standard, Claypool, Elliott, Burks, or Kieran Williams. If I'm starting one of that group, no joke, I think I'm starting Kieran Williams. I'll tell you why. Ezekiel Elliott is a game-time decision. The Dallas Cowboys earlier today, guys, elevated Quandre Ollison, their third string back, to the active roster for this week. Therefore, that means that Ezekiel Elliott is most likely not going to play. That is where I'm going, and that's why I probably will have Tony Pollard within my top 8 rankings of the running back position this week. That being said, the fact that you have Treylon Burks coming off of an injury, don't really trust it, especially considering I don't have a guarantee that Ryan Tannehill is even starting this week at the quarterback position. So already, boom, those are out. And if we're talking about Claypool, his potential, sure, he has it, but I'd much rather roll with the running back that I believe, now that he's active coming off the IR, that Sean McVay is absolutely going to give him the benefit of the doubt, going to give him majority of the touches this week, and is going to kind of be given the chance to win this job during the game. And if he plays well, then by all means, he's a great option there. But out of the group, I'm probably going Kieran there. Thank you. Romans828 says, choose two, Rondale Moore, Pollard, or Deontay Johnson. Pollard's an automatic in my eyes. As for the follow-up, I'm probably playing Rondale Moore, regardless of whether it is Colt McCoy or Kyler Murray. Thank you. Sean Bonds says, would you trade Fournette for Swift? Yes, I would. Absolutely, in a heartbeat. Thank you. Michael Barton follows up, says, where are we at, Michael? Thanks. How do you feel about Kieran Williams, running back? Yeah, I mean, I just went over it. So I'm sure you sent in that question before, but either way, just to expand upon it. We know that Sean McVay, throughout his career, with as a head coach for the LA Rams, wants to utilize one running back. He's never felt comfortable utilizing a rotation. That's never been his overall scheme. He wants all of his offensive formations to look the same, so that regardless of what they run out of it, a defensive member of the opposing team cannot key in on the fact that they've rotated a position and they may be more inclined to throw the ball or run the ball with a certain running back in the game. So if he's going to give Kieran Williams the active spot on this team's roster this week, which he already has, I think he's going to be given a lot of rushing opportunity to try to win this job. Clayton Poirier sends in a question. Says half PPR Wan'Dale Robinson, Jarvis Landry, or Allen Robinson. I played Wan'Dale this week. Thank you. Appreciate it. Poirier, huh? Isn't there a UFC event tonight? I know Adesanya's in the main event. Should be some good fights here tonight, isn't there? AMC Machine says Brissett projections ? Tony worth starting in the flex. Tony's worth starting in the flex in a certain circumstance, I would say. The best indicator that I can give for Tony is that he probably won't even be in my top 36 wide receiver rankings tomorrow. Tomorrow morning, specifically 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, for those of you who swing on by to talk all things fantasy in the morning. He probably won't be in my top 36 rankings because, again, Mecole Hardman has been so touchdown reliant. Now, it's great that they're using him down in that goal line, opportunity, but there's not a guarantee that they're going to utilize Kadarius Toney in that role. And that's why I'm a little bit, afraid of just giving that suggestion out, because I think that it's either going to be a great 10-point play or it's going to be 3.5 points and you're cursing my name by the end of the week. So I'm more likely to lean with, you know what, let's just wait and see what we can get out of him. Leave him on the bench. I'd rather play other players. But again, it depends. If you don't have anybody else that's an actual, great option within an offense that is getting opportunity, then yeah, you just play Kadarius Toney and hope for the touchdown upside. As for your prior question, Brissett's projections, I've moved up Brissett in my rankings. He's currently my number 14 quarterback going into the week. Projections on him, he probably, my assumption is that he's going to get himself close to or more than like 220, 230 passing yards. And then it's just a matter of, can he get that one touchdown pass to an additional one? I'm assuming he'll probably not, and he'll be able to get enough rushing yards to where he's a decent play in that like 14-point range in a 4-point per passing touchdown league, which makes him a decent option. Let's see here. Mr. Tres Cero Cinco says, full PPR, Khalil Herbert, CEH, or AJ Dillon. I probably play Khalil Herbert this week. Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, it's probably, man, I don't know what to do with AJ Dillon / Aaron Jones. They're a little bit sketchy at this point, and I don't know who's going to be given the bulk of the opportunity. Yeah, that's a tough one. I'd probably just play Khalil Herbert just because I'm not 100% certain as to what kind of a distribution of opportunity we're going to get out of that Green Bay backfield. Also, the IR spot, can I drop Jameson Williams? Jameson Williams comes back in December. So if you can drop him because you don't need a wide receiver by December, then that's fine by me. Markel Adams says full PPR, Scary Terry or Rondell Moore. Yeah, I'm playing Scary Terry this week. Thank you. King sends in a question, says, hey man, full PPR, Jones, JT, Debo, or Lazard. I'm probably out of this group. If Jonathan Taylor's active, which he will be, I'm rolling him out there. Without a doubt in my mind, I'm rolling him out there. I know that it may be a little bit sketchy to roll him out, even with all the swirling chaos that is the Colts organization right now in terms of what the heck we're going to potentially see this week. I'm still probably playing Jonathan Taylor. I think the safest play of the bunch is most likely just going with Debo, but I think I'm going to play Taylor there. Thank you. Patrick says, where are we at, Patrick? Patrick in a half PPR says, pick 2, Pollard, Godwin, or Palmer. Yeah, I'm going to play Pollard for sure. As for the second option, I'd probably play Palmer there. Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate it. Smooth Criminal says, hey, Andrew, should I trade Chase for Andrews in a full PPR scoring format? My wide receiver room is currently Adams, St. Brown, Boyd, Pickens, DPJ, 6-3 right now. Do I want to trade Chase for Mark Andrews? I'd probably say, I'm trying to think about this. Okay, so if in fact you're in a position, considering you're 6-3, you can wait for Jamar Chase to return. I think it's purely just a matter of, yeah, you know what? I'm probably just going to keep Chase. Because when I look at your team and I think to myself, when you get into the playoffs, you're not going to be playing DPJ, Boyd, or Pickens. Those are not guys that you can probably rely upon at that point. Now, hopefully we can if they, pick up a heat streak here and start getting a little bit more targets than they're typically seeing. But it's probably going to be an Adams and Chase rotation with St. Brown being that flex option, most likely going forward. I don't mind the swap under the assumption that you're in need of wins in the next 2 weeks. Let's say, for example, Jamar Chase does not play in week 11 or week 12. Then at that point, yeah, you might want to make a swap just so you can ensure some victories and then make the playoffs. But you're at a 6-3 record, so I don't know how many teams make your playoffs in your league. It may be like 4 or maybe 6 out of 12. That makes it a little bit more difficult to get in. So it could be a good option at that point. But outside of that, I think that they have very similar upside, especially when you get into the fantasy playoffs, to the point where it doesn't make a difference to me. I'd rather probably just have Chase because I think he has just a little bit more upside in my mind. They both have high upside, but I think he just got a little bit more. Michael Barton, thank you very much. Appreciate that. RR says, Keeper League, trade Hunt for cheap free agent. Trade Hunt for cheap free agent. What does that mean? Are we dropping him or are we trading? Target. Oh, my God. Look, there's my dyslexia kicking in. Keeper League, target Hunt for cheap free agent. I don't even know what that even means. If you want to go after Kareem Hunt in a Keeper League, you can. I just don't know if it's necessary for the remainder of the season. I guess if you're in need of running back depth, you could add him to your roster, but it's not a guarantee that he's going to be scoring touchdowns and being a relevant option. G Medina says full PPR. Montgomery, Herbert, Curtis Samuel, or Tony. Okay, Montgomery, Herbert, Curtis Samuel, Tony. I mean, I think we're in a spot this week where you're most likely just playing Montgomery there. Thank you. Heavy CMC says, which defense for the rest of the season? Jets, 49ers, or Ravens? I'm probably playing the Jets defense for the remainder of the year. They've been far too consistent not to trust them. Also, would you pick up Garrett Wilson and Donovan Peoples-Jones for the remainder of the season? Yeah, I'd much rather have Garrett Wilson for the remainder of the season, but if you're going to get both, then yeah, let's do both. I think those are great options going forward. Thank you. Peter says, drop Aaron Rodgers for Kirk Cousins, Daniel Jones, Jacoby Brissett, or keep him. Yeah, I'm willing to drop him. Probably for Kirk Cousins or Daniel Jones because they probably have better rest of season upside. Yeah, I'm willing to make that swap easily. Which quarterback is better for the rest of the season? Yeah, if I'm picking one rest of the season, it's probably going to be Daniel Jones, then Kirk Cousins. Just because Daniel Jones has a little bit more upside in terms of that rushing, influx that he'll get on an occasional weekly basis. He's averaging about 40 rushing yards per game, which is enough in my eyes to where, that pretty much counts as a touchdown. So anything more than that, which he certainly is capable of, and we've seen him rushing in the touchdown, making those bigger runs on those read option plays, certainly unlocks his potential. Let's see here. As to your follow-up question, also drop Brian Robinson for Eno. No, I don't think you need to pick up Eno, Benjamin. And then your running backs are Mixon, Ramondre, Aaron Jones, Jamal Williams, and AJ Dillon. Yeah, again, I don't think you need Eno. Thank you. Romans 828 says Antonio Gibson or Kieran Williams this week. Ooh, yeah, I'd probably just play Antonio Gibson just to be safe. J.D. McKissic is out for a second consecutive week here, so that means a lot of the receiving upside is going to go in the direction of Antonio Gibson, and considering it's a matchup against Philadelphia in which they'll probably get boat raced, it'll be a lot of passing for the Washington Commanders in the second half, which leads to a lot of potential opportunity for Antonio Gibson there. Thank you. Dale Derrick says full PPR, Case Keenum or Cousins. Injured Kyler Murray, question mark. Yeah, at this point, Kyler Murray, if he's active, again, is probably a guy that I'm willing to play. I don't know what the deal is. He didn't practice on Wednesday. He had a limited session on Thursday and Friday. But at this point, I'm leaning in the direction he's most likely going to play. So you don't have to worry about him missing. And I'd probably much rather play him over Cousins this week, even if Kyler's a little bit hamstrung, for lack of a better term. As for your follow-up question, Jeff Wilson, Kareem Hunt, Curtis Samuel, Donovan Peoples-Jones, Pierce. Okay, let's see here. So as for your first question, Jeff Wilson, Hunt, Samuel, Donovan Peoples-Jones. If we're just picking one out of this group, it's probably Jeff Wilson. As to your follow-up question, Pierce, Juju, Kirk, or Palmer, oh man. In a full PPR scoring format, why do we have to pick? Are we picking one only? Because I really want to play Pierce and Juju in that position there. I think Juju's just been far too good as of late to ignore it, and Pierce going against the Giants is a really good matchup for him. If I had to pick one out of the two, I'm most likely rolling with Pierce. Yeah, I'd most likely just roll with Pierce there. And all of a sudden, my internet went out. Hopefully it's recovering. Stabilize, please. Please stabilize. Okay, it's stabilized. Good. So yeah, I'd play Pierce there out of that group. And then Steelers or Giants defense, I'd rather play the Giants defense. I know Minkah Fitzpatrick's out with appendicitis, so that doesn't help their secondary out. Drop Donovan Peoples-Jones, Hunt, or Jeff Wilson Jr. for Kieran Williams. If you don't need the wide receiver depth, I don't mind swapping DPJ out for him. Prankster's Nightmare says, start one, Mostert, Hilaire, Gordon, or Henderson. If I'm playing one, I'm playing Raheem Mostert this week. Thank you. Dom says, Tony or Slayton in a PPR. Ooh, I think I'm probably at that point. Yeah, I think I'm probably playing Kadarius Toney at that point this week. Thank you. It's Magic says, thoughts on Swift this week? I'm absolutely starting him. He had a full participation of practice on Friday. This is the first time in a very long time that he has fully practiced. The fact that the last 2 weeks have been a acclimation period for him and the organization has not really put too much on his hands, even though when he's played and he's been given opportunity, he's looked great. I mean, 2 rushes last week for 10 yards, had himself a reception, then went down to the 1 yard line, was literally 1 yard shy of a touchdown for the second. I mean, for 2 consecutive weeks, could have had himself a receiving touchdown while being limited within the offense. So I'm fully in on the idea that Swift against Chicago, which is already an advantageous matchup, is going to be given the majority of the touches within this backfield. And if that's going to continue to be the case, of course, we know what kind of upside he presents on a weekly basis. So I'm all in on it. Top 12 guy this week in my mind at the running back position. Dale424 says, sup man, PPR format, Herbert or Brady? I'm going to play Brady this week. Thank you. John Joel, 723. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. Dom says Herbert, Wan'Dale Robinson, Jeff Wilson Jr. this week, pick 2. If I'm playing 2 out of this group in a full PPR, I probably play Jeff Wilson there, and then I follow that up. Am I playing Wan'Dale Robinson over? No, I'd probably play Khalil Herbert over him. Thank you. Appreciate it. Mike says Tony Pollard or Josh Palmer. I play Tony Pollard this week. Thank you. CP says Andrew, full PPR. Need 2 for the flex. We have Kareem Hunt, Darnell Mooney, Pickens, Pacheco, Jalen Warren, or Ezekiel Elliott. This week, I'm playing Darnell Mooney first and foremost. And to follow that up in a full PPR, I would play George Pickens. Yeah, so it's Mooney and Pickens there this week. Thank you. Juan Angel, what's up, man? Says, hey, my favorite fantasy analyst. Appreciate that. Lockett or Lamb this week. That is definitely a tough one. I want to play Lamb in hope that he really is going to be as consistent as we want him to be. But when we're talking about pure consistency of play, Lockett has been that guy, right? I think, 6 out of the last 8 games he's played this season, 10 plus fantasy points. So it's probably the safer play to go with Lockett. And that's kind of the direction I'm trending in as the week has kind of progressed here. Because I know that the secondary coverage for the Green Bay Packers is no joke. And I'm sure Lamb will find his successes here and there. But I think I'm going to probably play Lockett there. Thank you. G Hefe says, Pat or Dulcich this week. I'm going to play Greg Dulcich this week, specifically because of matchup. New Orleans has only allowed 1 touchdown to an opposing tight end. It was last week. If you guys watched that game against the New Orleans Saints, what was it, Monday? They had a sprint out option, right, where the entire offensive line blocking scheme, they're pretty much sprinting out, right? As Lamar Jackson kind of faking he's going to run, then throws the ball over the second level linebackers. The safety bit a little too hard. They score a touchdown. Outside of that, there's really not been much success from the tight end position against New Orleans this year. They've got really good coverage in terms of linebackers and safeties. So I'm probably leaning towards just playing Greg Dulcich against the Titans, who in the last couple of weeks have given up multiple 100-yard performances to different tight ends or different tight end groupings, might I say. And then your follow-up question there. Okay, so your main thing was, I've seen your video, but I'm not sure who to pick with ceiling. Yeah, I think ceiling is still on the side of Greg Dulcich. As for your follow-up, Jeff Wilson or Josh Palmer in the flex, in a full PPR scoring format, I'd play Palmer there in a full PPR. Thank you. Tommy sends in a question, says, I need to flex this week, debating between the Sun God or Metcalf. I'm going to play Sun God. I think Metcalf is a great play. I just think that okay, it is eventually okay, you don't have to play Sun God. Let's just put it this way. If you're worried about it, because that's what you said in your specific message, if you're worried about the play, you don't have to play him. I just feel confident in the idea of rolling out Amon-Ra St. Brown because there's quite literally no one else to throw the ball to. And there are going to be weeks where, yes, he doesn't score a touchdown, but eventually that hot streak is going to pick up. And he's going to get majority of the targets, probably 9 to 11 every single week. And if he can get himself, 7, 8 catches for 70, 80 receiving yards, we're in business, right? It's just a matter of getting that ever elusive touchdown. If you think Metcalf is more inclined to get that touchdown this week, then by all means roll with him. But I'm going to go with Mr. Sun God this week there. Amon-Ra. Vic TX361 says full PPR, Lamb or Godwin rest of the season. Lamb by a significant margin. Thank you. Smarco, Andre, or Sam Crow. Why do I always do that? I always do that with your name. Every single time. My bad. Andre says Swift or Fournette this week. I play Swift. Thank you. Brandon Malone says full PPR, Swift, Palmer, or Jamal Williams. I'm playing Swift this week. Thank you. Alrighty. Caught up on some of those. Appreciate that. Thank you for those of you guys who sent in donations. I got to catch up on this chat because it's literally breaking in front of my eyes. Why did the chat break? Do I need to update this? Okay. Got it. Aaron Walsh says, full PPR, pick 3, Juju, Lenny, Palmer, Aaron Jones. If I'm picking 3 out of this group, it's most likely rolling with Juju and Palmer for sure. And then it's a matter of determining whether or not Aaron Jones is actually going to play at a full capacity. You could just play it safe. And what I mean by safe is you just play Juju, Aaron Jones, and Lenny and just play your studs. But I'm leaning towards the idea of just avoiding playing Aaron Jones just because of that ankle. And I'm not 100% certain as to what kind of Aaron Jones we're going to see. And I might want to just play it safe considering you have Palmer as an alternative option in a full PPR scoring format that, quite frankly, could easily be another 15 points this week just because there's no one else to throw the ball to in that offense. Appreciate it. William, not William. Reflect says, which tight end would you start? Higbee, Juwan Johnson, or Robert Tonyan? Oh, man. This is tough. I don't like Robert Tonyan this week against Dallas. I think the matchup is really difficult, and Josiah DeGuara and Mercedes Lewis are getting a lot more snaps and or targets than I anticipated than in weeks past. They're using a little bit more tight end options because their receivers are injured. So I'm not really too inclined to play Tonyan there. Juwan Johnson is a touchdown-dependent tight end that will not get enough yardage to make any semblance of a play. And Higbee's had 3 consecutive terrible weeks, and I don't know if I can trust him. So if I'm starting one out of that group, out of conventional just, hey, what's the better matchup? I play Higbee there. And I close my eyes and I pray. But I don't like any of them, to be totally honest. William sends in a question, says full PPR. Rondell Moore, Sutton, or Pickens. Pick 2 in a PPR. I'm playing Pickens, and I'm playing Rondell Moore there. Thank you. Juan Angel says, what's your opinion on the potential continuous use of Cole Kmet down in the red zone for the Bears? If you don't think he'll... I think he's going to be perfectly fine. Wait, what does it say? Hold up. Let me move this. If you don't think he'll be a possible boom, should I get a free agent like Ingram, Moreau, Knox, or Fant? No. Keep him. Listen, like I was mentioning in the Monday waiver wire episode earlier this week, Cole Kmet was in my top 3. He was, I think, second to... dude, my internet's starting to bug a lot now. The days of live streaming where your internet is not good enough. Okay, back. Good. At this point, I think he's a great play this week. So you absolutely should have him on roster because they play against Detroit. And he should be starting because I have him significantly higher than the other options. That being said, I still like Moreau and I still like Ingram this week, but I do have Kmet over them for this given weekend. If he goes ahead and scores a touchdown for 3 consecutive weeks, the coaching staff, the organization will be far more inclined to continue to get him utilized down there and continue to design plays for him to be one of those better options, which that's my assumption. So you should keep him. Don't make any swaps. Vic says, full PPR, Gabe Davis or Deontay Johnson. I'm playing Deontay Johnson this week. Thank you. All righty. Thank you, guys. Appreciate that. All right. Let's see what we have in the chat here. So let me go ahead and pop this chat up, and we can get to some questions via the chat. All right. Let's see here. Hollins or Jeff Wilson? I'm playing Jeff Wilson this week. Deontay or Dotson? I'm playing Deontay this week. Jamal Williams or Jeff Wilson in a full PPR scoring format? Oh, man. I probably just want to play Jamal just in case because I think Jamal's touchdown upside is just a little too much for me to pass up on in that regard. Seahawks or Raiders defense? I have the Raiders ahead of them. Full PPR, Justin Jefferson and trade Justin Jefferson and acquire A.J. Brown, Amon-Ra St. Brown, and Jonathan Taylor. Should I accept? I don't know what the rest of your roster looks like. That being said, if you are a team that could utilize all 3 of these players as a starting role going forward, I'd probably take the deal. Like if you're gonna, let's say for example, you're not playing in a 4-man league, right? Or it's not an 8-team league, and immediately as you make these, acquired trade, you can start A.J. Brown, Amon-Ra St. Brown, 1, 2, and Taylor as one of your starting, running backs or a flex. Yeah, I'm probably gonna take that trade there because I think that's too much upside value there within those 3 players for just Justin Jefferson. So yeah, I take the deal there, Audie. Appreciate it. Pick 2, Pittman, Pickens, Sutton, Davis, or DPJ. Out of this group, it's, oh man, I don't like any of these guys. If in fact Josh Allen plays, Gabriel Davis gets to start for me with Pickens. If in fact Josh Allen does not play this week, if Josh Allen does not play this week, I probably roll with Sutton and Pickens. Thank you. Pickens or Pittman in a half PPR. Yeah, I'm playing Pickens this week. Thank you, Howard. Appreciate it. Should I trade Pierce, Jets defense, for Devontae Adams? I have Etienne, Foreman, and James Robinson as a backup. Are we trading Pierce in the Jets defense for Devontae Adams? Yes, I would. In a full PPR, absolutely. Half PPR, I thought about it for a couple seconds, and I'm still taking the deal. I'll take Devontae Adams. With no Hunter Renfrow and no Darren Waller, I mean, it is all Devontae Adams all day rest of the season. Hey man, trade DK for Amon-Ra St. Brown in a PPR scoring format. I don't mind this trade. I think there's a lot of implicated risk, but if it's me, I like the trade because I just have so much high hopes for Amon-Ra St. Brown. Doesn't mean it's the right decision. Doesn't mean it's going to pan out. That's just the way that I go. If you're asking my opinion, I would take it. In my own league, I would take it. PPR, I trade. Okay, we already did that. A couple more. Okay, a couple more. Yeah, a couple more. All right, we'll get to those in a second. Do appreciate you guys sending those in. Amon-Ra St. Brown or Olave this week. I think they're both great options. I try to find a way to play both of them, but if you can't, I'm leaning towards Amon-Ra. Half PPR, Ayuk or Jamal Williams. Probably still playing Jamal there. Seahawks or Raiders, we did that. We're playing the Raiders. Start Pollard or Swift, CeeDee Lamb or Lazard. I'd probably go with CeeDee Lamb and Pollard this week. I legitimately believe that Zeke is not going to play this week. And just to give you guys some perspective, in the games in which Tony Pollard has started for the Cowboys organization, where Zeke has been inactive, in both of those games, he has put up 25 or more points each time. So I'm all in on Pollard this week. I've been all in on Pollard for the last couple weeks, and I've made my fair share of trades for him in the last couple days here in my own fantasy leagues, and I think it's time. I think it's happening. The transition is being made. Mixon and Waddle for Derrick Henry and Godwin. If you're just purely looking at the rest of season and you're in a position where you're like, hey, I can somehow, some way win a championship in weeks 15 through 17 because I'm already at, a clinched playoff spot, I don't mind this because Derrick Henry probably has 2 weeks of 30 plus points, weeks 15 and 16. And he could probably put up just as many points, if not more, than both these guys combined. So under that assumption, sure. But if you're just looking at like, hey, this is what I'm looking at and I'm trying to make the playoffs still, I'd probably play with these two. Just because I know that Mixon's on a bye this week, but at least he comes off of it. And then Godwin has to still go on bye. And we got to still deal with that. Pick up Kenyon Drake? Probably not. I'd rather have Gus Edwards on roster. 2 are Fields this week. I have Fields ahead of him. How are the Colts players going to fare with new coach? You know what, Lunchbox? We don't know. We can make assumptions as to what is going to happen, but ultimately the biggest issue that I have with the entire kind of transition for the Colts organization is mainly that Frank Reich was the offensive coordinator, and he's absolutely a good offensive coordinator and head coach. I mean, yes, maybe his head coaching skills or the ability to win wasn't there with the team that was placed in front of him, but I think he's a very good play caller. And unfortunately, he's got the short end of the stick here. We just have to hope that whoever's the interim offensive coordinator, I forget the young guy's name. He's 30 years old. He was a passing game coordinator and quality control manager for the offense. Hopefully he can call himself a good game here, but it's gonna be interesting to wait and see what happens. The only guy that I'm starting on the Colts this week is probably Jonathan Taylor. It's the only guy. Appreciate it. Hunt, Jeff Wilson, or Rondale Moore. Yeah, I'm probably playing Jeff Wilson there. Yeah. Let's see here. Jonathan Taylor or Najee Harris? Jonathan Taylor this week. Gabe Davis, Gibson, or Pittman? I probably play Gibson there. Jeff Wilson or CEH? I play Jeff Wilson. Hollins? Why do you say CHC? I was like, wait. I mean, my dyslexia kicked in the E in front of the H all of a sudden. Full PPR. Hollins, Hunt, or Thielen? Hollins, Hunt, Thielen. I'm probably in a full PPR going to roll with sketchy. It's probably, man. Thielen's probably the safest play of the bunch. I kind of want to play Hollins, but I think Thielen's probably the safer play. Mike Evans or Mooney in a PPR? Mike Evans. Pickens or Pittman? Pickens. Opinion on DeAndre Carter should probably be the same as he was last week. 5 catches, 50-something yards. Probably something like that. If he gets a touchdown, it's lucky. Dak or IC Kirk rest of the season? I'd rather have Dak there, Miles. That's a good one. We should probably do that. I'm going to change his logos out next week for all the IC Kirk memes. Appreciate that. All right. A couple donations that were sent in. Let me go ahead and address them really quickly. Do appreciate you guys sending those in. Kelly Appleton says, start PPR, Lazard, DPJ, Mooney, Rondale Moore, Pittman. Yeah, it's absolutely going to be Lazard and Rondale Moore as the number 1 and 2 there. But again, Lazard is number 1. And then as for your follow-up question, do I bench Ertz for Kmet this week? I have Ertz slightly ahead of Kmet. That being said, I would only... Yeah, I'm fine with it. I'm fine with playing Kmet over Ertz this week. The only reason I would ever switch that decision is if, in fact, Kyler's not active and they actually play Colt McCoy, because I do trust Zach Ertz more with Colt McCoy based on what he did with him last year. So, specifically, I'm fine with playing Kmet over Ertz in a standard league because we're looking for touchdown upside only. Actually, probably even in the case that Colt McCoy plays, I'm still playing Kmet because I need the touchdown upside in a standard league. So, yeah, that's where we'll go with right now. So, Kelly, the answer is Lazard and Kmet. Thank you. Let's see here. Chris sends in a question. What's up, Chris? Says PPR pick 2 Juju, Olave, DK, Amari Cooper. I am most likely playing Juju and Olave there. Thank you. Trojan 3659 says dropping Kyler Murray for Watson. Thoughts? I have Fields. I mean, I don't think you need to make this swap. Like, honestly, do we really think that Deshaun Watson is going to be a better quarterback than Kyler Murray in fantasy when he comes back? I don't think so. I don't have that opinion. Now, you might, and you may think that he can come back and immediately make an impact. I don't think he's going to. So I'd rather just have Murray, especially considering we have Hollywood Brown coming back over the horizon. Now, if Murray's going to end up missing significant time with his hamstring, then yes, we could probably make that transition. But for right now, I'd much rather just have Murray as a stable option because let's say, for example, you make this swap, okay? And God forbid something happens in which Justin Fields, he has an ankle injury. I mean, he's running the ball a lot as of late. And the potential for an injury is significantly increased with his more mobile usage in the last couple weeks. If something happens and you've picked up Watson and you don't have a backup for Fields, then we have an issue, right? So I think in terms of all scenarios here, Murray is the better keep as that quarterback too. Even if you're not going to start him, he's much better for your roster going forward than what Deshaun Watson could theoretically present in terms of insurance and upside going forward. Valentine Garcia says pick 2 and 1 flex full PPR. Lazard, Palmer, Godwin, McLaurin, Jamal Williams. Yeah, I'm going to play... Do I play McLaurin there? That's the only question. Do I want... I'm probably going to play Lazard, Godwin, and McLaurin there. Valentine, thank you. Appreciate it. Chris sends in another question. Says Najee Harris, David Montgomery, or James Conner this week in a full PPR. Probably going to roll with... I kind of want to play James Conner. I think David Montgomery's probably the better play of the bunch, though. Yeah, David Montgomery's probably the best play. It would go David Montgomery, James Conner, Najee Harris in that order. If Najee Harris was going to be given and someone could guarantee me, someone went into the future, saw the events, came back, said, Andrew, we can guarantee Najee Harris is getting himself 20 rushing attempts this week, I would immediately play him. But unfortunately, it's more likely going to be like 10 or 12, which really doesn't have much upside, especially if they don't get down to the goal line. Thank you. Sweezy says Mostert or Khalil Herbert this week. Probably safer just to roll with Mostert there. Thank you. Mr. Tres Cero Cinco says half PPR, Curtis Samuel, Wan'Dale Robinson, Greg Dulcich. I'm probably playing Dulcich there in a half PPR. Follow up, full PPR, Rondale Moore, Gabriel Davis, Pickens. I'm playing Rondale Moore there. Thank you. Need to bring in Kieran Williams from the IR. Would you drop Wan'Dale Robinson for him? I mean, it depends what the rest of your running back depth looks like. If you look at your future games here, weeks 11, 12, 13, and 14, the next 4 weeks, if in fact you have bye weeks at running back, and you may think to yourself, there's a pretty good chance that I'm going to have to utilize a running back outside of the guys that I have currently on roster, then I think Kieran Williams is probably a good pickup there for Wan'Dale Robinson. Thank you. Box of Juice says Pickens or Najee Harris rest of the season in a PPR league. Really, huh? That's what we're doing to Andrew today. We're going to torment him with these extremely difficult questions. At this point, it's probably smarter to have Najee Harris. I think there's a higher likelihood of not... Oh, man. This team's going to throw the ball the entire game for a majority of the rest of the season. I want it to be Najee Harris, but in my heart of hearts, I know it's Pickens. So let's just go Pickens. Anthony says, PPR, Dulcich in the flex. I have Dylan, MVS, and Allen Robinson. Yeah, I'm playing Dulcich in the flex. No joke. Thank you. Joshua says, half PPR, Higbee, a tight end, or Ingram. I'm going to play Ingram there. And in flex, pick one, Brandon Cooks, Thielen, or Wan'Dale Robinson. Of the three, I'm probably playing Thielen because I don't even think that Brandon Cooks even plays. He could, but again, he's been questionable all week. And Wan'Dale Robinson doesn't have as much upside, so I'm going to play Thielen there. Thank you. Okay. Appreciate you guys sending in those questions. Let's see what we have in the chat here. Okay. Let me scroll up a little bit here, chat. Says, 2 out of 3, Swift, Williams, and Sutton. Yeah, I'm playing Swift and Williams. I'm just gathering all the value there, Robert, out of this backfield and just cashing in on it, theoretically. Kirk or Lockett this week? I probably have Lockett ahead of him. Let me think about this. Where do I have Lockett in my mind? Where's my rankings from earlier this week? I know I've adjusted my rankings a bit. I haven't finished adjusting my full completed rankings in terms of like some of the lower end guys, but in terms of the upper side here, yeah, I'm probably playing Lockett over him. Um, Gotta respect Icy Kirk. One more question. PPR league, flex option, Uncle Lenny or JT? Yeah, I'm playing JT. Uncle Lenny can take the bench spot this week. He can sit on the porch and just relax for a couple days here, because ultimately, until I can see a sign of life from Lenny's running game production, it's tough to start him. Standard scoring rest of season, Freiermuth, Schultz, or Dulcich. In a standard scoring format rest of season, I'd rather have Dalton Schultz out of the bunch. Goff, Brissett, or Daniel Jones. I have Daniel Jones, Brissett, and Goff in that exact order, so I'll take DJ there. Appreciate it. Trade Diggs, Mixon, and Deontay Johnson for Waddle, Saquon, and Debo. Man, that's a very interesting question. I would probably say yes. Yeah, give me that trade. I'll take it. Give me Waddle, give me Saquon, and give me Debo rest of the season. Corey says pick one, standard. Sutton, Palmer, Dulcich. I'd probably play Palmer there. I think it's just a little bit more stability in that regard. PPR, Henderson or Dulcich. I'd probably play Dulcich this week. Again, I don't really trust these running backs with Kieran Williams being activated. Play Josh Palmer or Mostert. I'd probably go with Palmer there. Jimmy G or Geno. I have Jimmy G a little bit behind Geno, but they're both really good. And the reason why is because, Raven, in both circumstances, these are both guys that are scoring 2 touchdowns per game. The only reason that Geno Smith has a little bit more upside is his rushing potential, which he's activated on multiple occasions this year. Last week, coming off a 38 rushing yard week, which is pretty much a touchdown, 3.8 fantasy points, and a 4-point per passing touchdown. He gets an additional touchdown there. So even though both these guys are on a streak of throwing 2 or more touchdowns every game, I'd much rather play Geno Smith. Thank you. Let's see here. Pick 2, Pittman, Terry, Thielen, Deontay. Out of this group, I'm playing Terry McLaurin and I'm playing Deontay Johnson. I appreciate that, friends. Kirk or Lockett. Yeah, I'm going to go with Lockett. Oh, in a full PPR, it's a little bit different, right? In a full PPR, I probably play Christian Kirk at that point, like legitimately. I know it's close, but yeah, that's probably the position switch that I'd make. In a half PPR, it's Lockett, but in a full, I'm going to go Christian Kirk. And it may seem a little bit crazy, but I think the volume of receptions that Christian Kirk has in store for him in comparison to Tyler Lockett is always a significantly high margin. They both have touchdown upside, so if they both meet said upside, it's probably Kirk that ends up having the better week. Would you flex Swift over CeeDee Lamb in a PPR? Also, you're the man. Appreciate that, Hans. Oh, man. Am I playing Swift over CeeDee Lamb this week? I want to, right? No, you know what? It's not that I just want to. I probably would. I know it's extremely risky to do it, but I probably would. I'm not very risk averse to the idea where, like, there are certain scenarios where, for example, right? We talked about it earlier today. I am scared out of my mind about Aaron Jones. I legitimately am. I do not know what we're going to see out of that backfield, because everything that we've experienced in the past from that backfield has lent me to having this predisposed fear of the utilization that they give him. So as of right now, I have a little bit of PTSD in that regard. So for those players, sure. But in the case of Swift having a full practice, I'm not bothered in any sort of capacity. I'm treating Swift as if he was week 1 Swift. So yeah, I would play him. With Josh Allen injured, would you trust Russell Wilson with with Tennessee defense injured? Yeah, I saw this report. Let me go ahead and so here it is, right? So I have on my Patreon my injury report for this week. Tennessee Titans are missing Zach Cunningham, Bud Dupree, Jeffrey Simmons, Amani Hooker, and they have another defender out, which his name is not here, but I know he's certainly out. They have literally their majority of their defense is out. Do I trust Russell Wilson? No. Do I trust him against an injured defense? There's a good upside that he plays well. What's the alternative, right? It's figuring out whether or not Josh Allen can play, right? If Josh Allen is out, I don't mind playing Russell Wilson in any sort of capacity. I'd much rather play Russell Wilson than Case Keenum. So to answer your question, AD, yeah, let's roll with Russell Wilson if Josh Allen's inactive. But if in fact you're like, hey, Josh Allen's active, do I play Russell Wilson anyway? No, I'd play Josh Allen there. Clarifying my Hunt question. Okay, all right, let's see here. He has an upcoming free 8. Okay, got it. Understood. Yeah. Could be a top 10. Yes. Okay. So at that point, right, considering you're preparing for next year in specific, RR, considering he's going to have to potentially sign another contract here in the offseason, depending on where he goes, obviously will determine his value. But I don't mind that. Yeah, if you're looking towards the future, that is a great idea. I don't mind that at all. Brissett or Aaron Rodgers? I have Brissett higher this week, Anonymous. Okay, appreciate that. Let me see here. So a couple more questions that were sent in. I want to address them really quickly. We had Connor. Thank you very much. Says, love you. Appreciate that. Matt Collins or Donovan Peoples-Jones? Donovan Peoples-Jones is probably the guy that I'd lean with. Yeah, he's just been far too consistent for me to avoid playing him. He's been one of those guys this season that was a surprise to me. Like, I had him in my mind in the preseason where, like, can Donovan Peoples-Jones be something? Yeah, probably, but not without Deshaun Watson. And that has been completely false. I mean, he has been fantastic with Jacoby Brissett, and I don't think they're slowing down. I think he'll continue to maintain this, like, 3 to 4 catches, 60 to 70 yard kind of game going forward, and he's going to put up 8 to 10 points, 12 points per week, and I'm all for it. Juan Angel says, speaking of Harris, what do you think about Jaylen Warren? Will he take over the lead back role? No, he's not going to take over the lead back role. He's going to get himself more touches, certainly, out of this backfield, which does provide, if in fact Najee Harris misses time due to an injury, then in fact he would take over the role. But as of right now, it would be a two-headed monster. And it would be a two-headed monster with one of them being in the more dominant role. So the way I see it is very similar to the way that Najee Harris, okay, so Najee Harris would be the David Montgomery, and Jaylen Warren would be Khalil Herbert. So there are going to be weeks where Jaylen Warren just purely outscores him with more opportunity, but there's always that, hey, Najee Harris is going to get the majority of the touches. He should be the goal line back. He should have primary value in this backfield. So at that point, sure, Jaylen Warren is worth rostering, but he's also in a position where there's a lot of risk in regards to his overall upside because he needs a touchdown or he needs significant amount of receiving work to be a viable top 36 like option within a given week, unless Najee Harris is out. Shadi says, drop Claypool for Brian Robinson, or Brian Robinson for Tony and Matt Collins, 7-2 currently. I'm not dropping Brian Robinson. It's very difficult to come by starting running backs within an offense. I understand that he's, going to go ahead and continue to split snaps and touches with Antonio Gibson. But again, it is still difficult to come by players of that caliber in a starting role at the running back position. So I'm not dropping Brian Robinson. As for Claypool, are we dropping him for Tony or Hollins? I think Tony's most likely going to be a guy where he could have value this week. But going forward, when McCole Hardman comes back, McCole Hardman is going to be the primary guy. He's got far more experience, far more of a connection and or rapport with Mahomes where they're comfortable there, utilizing him in that kind of role. So Tony is only a guy where if you, again, you're 7-2, I don't think you need to make these moves to where you're going all in. I think I just hold on to Claypool and see what happens with him. Peter says, would you start Zeke or Najee? Absolutely, I'm playing Najee Harris this week. Absolutely, without a doubt in my mind. I don't expect Zeke to play tomorrow. Again, like I was mentioning earlier, for those of you who weren't here, again, if you guys are just joining us, thank you for joining us on Saturday afternoon as we're talking about starter sit questions regarding all positions fantasy. At this moment, 442 of you are in here. If you guys could do me a favor, click that like button. Thank you very much. Also, the reason why I have Christian McCaffrey at the bottom right of the screen is because I posted a video yesterday in terms of rest of season running back rankings for a half PPR scoring format, which also includes rest of season strength of schedule. So I talk about two spectrums of time, weeks 11 through 14 and weeks 15 through 17. And then I talk about my top 36 running back rankings rest of season. You can check that out on the channel. It's available. Thank you very much. Yeah, I'm absolutely playing Zeke. Sorry, I'm absolutely playing Najee Harris. My apologies. Because Zeke is probably not going to play. He was limited all week, and they activated Quandre Ollison off the practice squad to be a starter, or not starter, but to be a 53-man roster guy within this offense, which means that he's most likely going to be inactive tomorrow morning. That's at least what we've seen over the course of the NFL. Whenever there's a guy that pops up as an active off of the practice squad, it's typically because he's going to play because somebody within that starting running back role is going to be sitting. So yeah, Najee Harris is the play there, Peter. Thank you. I just saw this comment. Donald Smith says, I'm at my cousin's wedding and I'm still here, Andrew. Listen, that's love. Appreciate that. That is ridiculous, man. That is ridiculous. I'm at my cousin's wedding and you're sitting there while everyone's dancing, you're on your phone, just like, all right, I got to get my questions answered. I mean, listen, you got priorities, man, and I respect that, my man. That's awesome. All right, let's see here. A couple more questions that were sent in. Jorge Perez says, okay, Jorge didn't actually have a question, and I got to go find it. But King said, one for the flexible PPR, Sutton, Swift, Gabe Davis, or Zeke. Yeah, I'm playing Swift, absolutely. Smooth Criminal says, Foster Moreau or Kate Otten. I'm going to play Foster Moreau this week. Pacheco or Warren rest of season. I think there's a higher likelihood of Warren getting more opportunity, to be totally honest. So yeah, I'd go Warren and I'd go Moreau there, smooth criminal. Kyle says, what are your thoughts on Lamar rest of the season? Drake greedy? Is Kenyon Drake greedy? Is that what you mean by that? I don't know what you mean by that, but either way, Lamar rest of the season. I mean, once in fact we have Mark Andrews back in the lineup, I mean, we're good to go. There's no question in my mind that he's probably in that top 5 conversation at quarterback rest of the season. It'll probably be like Josh Allen, if healthy, Mahomes, Jalen Hurts, Lamar, and then number 5 is between Justin Fields and Joe Burrow right now. So he's probably top 4 option, right? Top 4, top 5. Or did I mention too many names? Josh Allen, Hurts, Mahomes. Yeah, Lamar, Fields. Somewhere in that rotation. So 4 or 5. Let's see here. Where was Jorge Perez? Let me see where you got, my man. Jorge, where art thou? Full PPR. Patriots defense on a bye week this week. I have the Bucks that I can pick up another. Okay. Also, kicker is Tucker. He's on a bye. What are your kicker rankings? Okay, let's go ahead and let's go over kicker and defensive rankings, shall we? We're going to do this again tomorrow morning. Could change, but I doubt it does change to much of a capacity considering I kind of locked it up last night. Here's my kicker and defense rankings for you guys. Here we go. You guys ready for it? Here's my top 12 defenses going into the week. Number 1, Philadelphia Eagles. Number 2, Dallas Cowboys. Number 3, New York Giants. Number 4, Buffalo Bills. Number 5, Tennessee Titans. That's probably going to change considering all the inactive. So disregard Tennessee Titans. Boom, boom, boom. Delete that. Number 6. So actually number 5 would then be San Francisco 49ers. Number 6 would be the Raiders. Number 7 would be the Broncos. Number 8 would be the Kansas City Chiefs. Number 9 would be the Arizona Cardinals. Number 10 would be the Seahawks. Number 11 would be the Buccaneers. Then I got to find a 12 because I'm not playing the Tennessee Titans defense if 7 of their starters are out. So again, that's the biggest difference maker. Now that we've gotten confirmation with all that. Now in terms of kickers, number 1, Jason Myers. Number 2, Daniel Carlson. Number 3, Graham Gano. Number 4, Ryan Suckup. Number 5, Brett Maher. Number 6, Cade York. I'm assuming Cade York is available in your league. Number 7, Harrison Butker. Number 8, Tyler Bass. Number 9, Will Lutz. Number 10, Brandon McManus. Number 11, Robbie Gould. Number 12, Kaimi Fairbairn. Thank you very much. Appreciate that, Jorge. Pretty much asking a question that everybody maybe was wondering, and you did everybody a favor there. Okay. We have Kyle's question we took care of. Briggs. It says pick 3. We have Cook, Etienne, Sanders, Swift, A.J. Brown, or Mike Evans. I'm playing A.J. Brown over Mike Evans, first and foremost, Briggs. As to picking 3 between those running backs, Etienne is a must start. Etienne, Swift, and Cook. Those are the 3 that I'm playing. I'm sitting Sanders. Thank you. Kelly Appleton says PPR. I have Herbert pick up Jones, Wilson. Jones, Wilson. Which Jones are you referring to? Let me go see here. So we have Aaron Jones, we have Zay Jones, we have Marvin Jones, we have Julio Jones, we have Donovan Peoples-Jones. So which Jones are we talking about, Kelly? If you could let me know in the chat, it'd be helpful. But if you could pick up Jeff Wilson Jr., I think he probably takes priority over all the rest there, Kelly. Jayon sends in a question, says, traded Evans, Swift, and Williams for Henry and DK, leaving me weaker at wide receiver. Who would you start at wide receiver in half PPR? Kirk, Palmer, DK, or Wan'Dale Robinson? I'd probably play... It's either DK or Christian Kirk. In a half PPR, it's most likely DK Metcalf. Yeah, it's probably DK Metcalf in a half PPR. Full PPR would be Christian Kirk there, but as of right now, it's one of those 2. I go DK. But I don't mind the trade. I mean, you're trading away Evans. Okay, so you pretty much traded away... Yeah, it is a tough trade there. But again, if you're in line to make that fantasy playoff push, I think it really does help you with Henry in that, week 15, 16 game, pretty much carrying your week. Matt Barkley not elevated to the Bills roster. Josh Allen to start. I mean, that seems about right there, right, Miles? Again, when we're trying to predict potential outcomes, the fact that he has not been elevated does lean towards the idea that he could end up, or Josh Allen could end up being the starter this week, which would be awesome. We'd love to see that. Brendan says, I've got Kittle and Goddard. Should I pair up one with Fournette and try to trade? Yeah, I'm perfectly fine with that. I'd love to move Fournette and Goddard and try to go get an upgrade at running back. That would be great. All right, Juju or Judy? Jay, I'd play Juju this week, especially with McCall Hardman out. Let's see here. Full PPR. I need 2 out of 3. Jonathan Taylor, Swift, Jamal Williams. Yeah, I'm playing Taylor and Swift. Thank you very much, Felix. Cortland Sutton or Curtis Samuel. Ooh, I'm probably playing Curtis Samuel there. Thank you. Appreciate it. Hey, Andrew, would you flex out Tony, Jamal Williams, or A-Rob? I played Jamal Williams there. Appreciate it. Alo says, loaded question. Okay, you know what? I appreciate the warning beforehand. Okay, you're the number 1 seed and you're 8-1. You have Eckler, Pollard, Mostert, Wilson, Dillon at your running backs. You have Waddle, Hopkins, Debo, Mike Williams, Hardman at your wide receivers. Kelsey's your tight end and Fields is your quarterback. Should you make a trade for a lock at running back or chill? I mean, at this point, the only question is, okay, so Alo, if you've seen my running back rest of season rankings video, the one that's literally thumbnailed at the bottom right of the screen, that's on the channel right now, if you've seen that video, if you do believe that somehow, some way, you can utilize your running back depth to go and acquire someone that is in that top 12 running back capacity to join Eckler, then I don't see why you wouldn't try to do that. Now, the question is, what would you have to give away? You can't give away Kelsey or Fields. You got to keep both those guys. And it's just a matter of, can you utilize the depth in which you have at wide receiver, whether it is Mike Williams or Debo Samuel, or maybe moving Pollard to the guy that has Ezekiel Elliott to make that push to try to get a really good top 12 running back option? Again, that's all up in the air, but that's the only thing that I could see. Now, under the assumption that Pollard, like I'm expecting this week, goes for I'm expecting legitimately Pollard goes for at least 18 fantasy points this week. That is my simple prediction. So at this point, I'm expecting him to play well. If you can somehow keep Pollard and he continues to be the primary guy, like I'm hoping he is, then you don't have to make any moves. You're set. Nothing is to be touched. But that's the biggest question mark, and that's the only thing that I'm trying to figure out if we can improve upon. Goff or Russ in a full point, 6 point per passing touchdown league. If it's a 6 point per passing touchdown league, man, do I want to play Russ? Oh, no. I don't know. I got to think about that. Russ is very much so a hotly contested point at this position. Standard league, Swift or Jamal? I'm playing Swift. Would you start Amon-Ra, Amari, or Debo Samuel? I currently have Amon-Ra, Debo, and an Amari in that order, Dylan. Walker or Christian McCaffrey for D-Hop and Pierce? Sorry, Walker and McCaffrey? No. It should be Walker or McCaffrey. No. Keep Walker and McCaffrey. Absolutely do not make that trade, Tyrone. Absolutely do not make that trade. Let's see here. Let me scroll down a little bit. Okay, we had a couple more questions sent in. Let me go ahead and address those really quickly. Again, I want to thank you guys for joining us this afternoon for Week 10. If you guys have any questions, please be sure to ask them in the chat via also including your scoring format. Certainly does help out a lot in terms of me being able to get through those questions quickly. Again, the longer questions obviously take a little bit of time to get through, but if it's a short and sweet question, I'll be able to just bang them out real quick and keep moving. Appreciate it. Kyle Grove sends in a question, says, who's a better PPR stash, Kadarius Toney or J.K. Dobbins? I legitimately think it's probably Toney. I don't think Dobbins, even after he returns, is going to look like himself, which obviously is concerning, but I think at very best, he's in a rotational kind of position where he probably doesn't even have goal line work. Rico Baptiste says Treylon Burks specifically, or George Pickens rest of the season. I'd rather have George Pickens rest of the season. Thoughts on Kyren Williams? I talked about it a little bit earlier. I'm expecting him to be given majority of the opportunities this week to win the job. If he doesn't, then he's off into the bench and probably sits behind Darrell Henderson rest of the season. But I think he's going to be given the opportunity, and considering the matchup against the Cardinals, I think he plays well. S Bake Gaming says Joshua Palmer or Allen Lazard. I play Allen Lazard this week. Thank you very much, S Bake. All right, let's see here. Couple questions. Let's scroll back up. Thank you, Kevin Effect. Kevin, you've been around the community for a while, my man. You really have. I appreciate that. Thank you. Yeah, you know what I wanted to actually mention that I'm now just reminded of. For those of you who have continued to support the channel over the years, you guys truly, I mean, I say it a lot, but I truly do appreciate you guys coming out every single day throughout the season, clicking the like button, supporting the channel, and doing all that you guys do. It really does warm my heart that there are people out here that continue to want to support the channel. with so many other fantasy options out there. I do appreciate you guys continuing to come back. The other day, I was on Reddit and I was curious. I was like, you know what? Let me just look up my name on Reddit and let's see what the heck pops up here. There were so many people within the community that were suggesting me on the fantasy Reddit. I was like, yo, and this was for over the last couple of years. I was like, you guys are the best. You guys are the best community. I appreciate that, guys. Thank you. Let's see here. Jaguars are likely playing catch up against the Chiefs. Is it crazy to start Christian Kirk over CeeDee Lamb in a standard scoring format? I don't think it's crazy. No. Would I do it? Probably not, but I don't think it's crazy. I think there is an actual legitimate conversation to be had there, Ando, and I wouldn't be surprised if Christian Kirk outscored him. I'll put it that way. Rachaad White or Latavius Murray? I'd play Latavius Murray this week. Juju or Jarvis? Juju by a significant margin, Blood Moon. What is this? I don't even know what this is. Do you mean Friar Muth? What is that? what is that, dude? I was like, what is that name? I'm like, those are not fantasy football players. James Conner or Raheem Mostert? James Conner. Trade Olave, DK, and James Robinson for J-Jet and Dotson. Again, it depends on what kind of depth you have a wide receiver. Can you really afford to get rid of these two guys? If you can, and you don't need this running back depth, then yeah, let's make the move. Allen is playing? I hope so, Isaiah. I hope. Whew. Please. Please, Josh Allen. I need you to play, my guy. Too many of my teams rely upon it, whether it's with Diggs or whether it's with him, in my lineup. But we got to pray. Let's just pray and let's just hope. Aaron Jones being healthy or Jamal Williams against the Bears. If Aaron Jones is healthy, I'm playing him. Without a doubt in my mind, I'm playing him. But he's got to be healthy. He's got to be at a full capacity. I just don't know if we can guarantee that. Take a flyer on Landry this week, question mark? I don't mind taking a flyer on him. I just don't expect much. You know what I mean? Keep Foreman in a somewhat good offense or go with Pierce in an offense that can't convert. I think Foreman is most likely a guy that has a better strength of schedule going forward. So if you're just like on the idea that I need to play the best matchup, even if Foreman could have a couple touches siphoned here and there, I'm of the opinion that Pierce probably outscores him or is similar in terms of potential scoring outcome, mainly because Pierce gets receptions out of this backfield and will probably continue to get an expanded role as such. But I don't mind keeping both of them. I have them back-to-back in my rest of season rankings. Thoughts on Steelers defense with Watt back? Yeah, my biggest issue, Michael, isn't Watt's presence. It's the matter of Minkah Fitzpatrick being out and the secondary being hurt. That secondary is a little too sketchy for me. I already know that the Steelers are going to probably give Alvin Kamara a tough time on the ground. Alvin Kamara, both of his starting offensive, well, no, actually not both. The starting center and the starting left guard are both out this week. So, with that being taken into account, it's probably going to be tough for them to run on TJ Watt and the boys from Pittsburgh. So, it's probably going to be a pass-heavy game. Olave is probably going to have himself a pretty good week here against that secondary, which leads me towards probably not starting that Pittsburgh defense and just, yeah, I don't want to risk it. I just don't think there's enough of a trust there at this position, but you never know. They could play well. Let me see here. Any moves to make? My team is Herbert, Etienne, Lenny, Mostert. Okay. Pat Freiermuth, Waller on the IR. Any moves to theoretically make here? I mean, Herbert needs to go unless you really can survive with a 14, 13, 12-point running quarterback. I don't know if you can. Maybe you can. Etienne's a stud. Lenny can move. Connor can move. Mostert can move. Kupp's fine. Chase is fine. You mentioned, okay, that's fine. McLaurin can move as well. A little bit of a copy pasta here. No problem. Deontay Johnson. There are a lot of pieces that can be moved. Let's just put it that way. A lot of pieces. You can move Lenny and Connor for a singular running back, or move Lenny and McLaurin for a singular running back. And I think it would help your team. All right, let me go ahead and scroll down a little bit here. Pearl says, I believe in Jeff Saturday. Should I start Ellinger or Dalton? I'm playing Andy Dalton. That's all I can say. I'm playing Andy Dalton. Let's see here. Says, yo, Chap Palmer or DK? Yeah, I'm probably playing DK in a half PPR. In a full PPR, I could get into the position where I might want to play Palmer. But yeah, in a half, I'm playing the Terminator himself. Big Goo says, okay, answered question about Zeke, LOL. Pick 2, Wilson, Hunt, Kieran Williams, Pacheco. I'm probably playing Jeff Wilson Jr. and then Kieran Williams back to back there. Those are the two guys. Half PPR, JT or David Montgomery. Yeah, I'm gonna flex JT there. Pick 2, Palmer, Pittman, Aaron Jones, Pickens. At this point, I'd probably just play Palmer and Aaron Jones. Yeah, that's probably what I would do. Kyler or Goff, 1 p.m. decision. Goff plays at 10. I would be willing to most likely. You know what? I'm actually of the opinion that I'd wait for Kyler and even play Colt McCoy if I have to. I don't think I want to play Goff there in Chicago. I don't think I want to play him in comparison. I think I'd rather just wait for the Kyler decision. CeeDee Lamb or Olave this week. I think I have CeeDee Lamb a little bit higher, but I think by tomorrow morning I probably have Olave ahead of him. At least I had him higher earlier this week on Wednesday, but probably leaning towards Olave at that point. Thank you. Let me go ahead and scroll. Let's see here. There was a couple questions sent in. Jay says, I have Fields, Brady, and Watson. Should I drop Brady for Mooney or Donovan Peoples-Jones? I have Gabe Davis, Pittman, and Juju. Yeah, I would drop Brady for Mooney at this point. That's fine by me. Francis Cooley says, I have James Robinson, Sutton, and waivers is Garrett Wilson, Foreman. Wait, what? Wait. I have J-Rob, Sutton, and on waivers is Garrett Wilson, comma. Foreman, what's your ROS rankings and what are they worth? Wait, I don't understand. There's not enough punctuation, or maybe perhaps there's too much punctuation here. Okay, so let's use periods next time to figure out what the heck's going on here. You have J-Rob and you have Sutton, and Garrett Wilson is a free agent. My assumption, what you're asking is, do you drop either of them for Garrett Wilson? The answer is yes. I would drop Sutton for Garrett Wilson right now, Francis. Your follow-up question, which I'm assuming is the question, what is Foreman's rest of season ranking worth in terms of... Wait, no, I don't understand this. No, I just don't. I don't get it. You got to rewrite it completely, Francis. I'm not going to try to decrypt what the heck you just sent in. Trey Curb 47 says, Justin Herbert or Geno? I'd rather play Geno Smith this week. Eckler on RB1, leaning towards Geno. Yeah, I mean, again, yeah, I'm playing Geno. What do we have here? Palmer or Jeff Wilson? Again, it depends on format. If it's a half PPR, I'm just playing Jeff. Do I start Pacheco, Warren, or Rachaad White? Out of the group, I'm playing Warren. Let's see here. Should I trade A.J. Brown for St. Brown and Khalil Herbert? Probably not. No. Don't need to. Are Pittman and Davis worth keeping? Or add and trade? Yeah, I mean, I probably would try to trade them. You can wait for them and try to have a big week here and then try to ship them, but it's tough. Finesse Gaming says, traded Aaron Jones, Judy, and Garrett Wilson for Kamara, Pickens, and CEH. My running backs are Chubb, Henderson, and handcuffs. Wide receivers are JJ, Gabe Davis, and Zay Jones. W or L? At this point, I would... Let's say, for example, okay, let's throw this out into the universe. If Aaron Jones is going to be healthy and Aaron Jones is going to be Aaron Jones rest of the season, I think this is an L trade. Because I don't think that CEH is going to be anything the rest of the season. And if you're trading Aaron Jones, Judy, and Garrett Wilson, who could all be great for Kamara and Pickens, sure, Kamara probably has more value than Aaron Jones going forward. But this is the issue that I see. It's the Judy, Garrett Wilson versus Pickens conversation, which I'd rather have Judy or Wilson over Pickens. And they probably start as your wide receiver 2 rest of the way here, to be totally honest. But again, it depends. If Aaron Jones is not his healthy self, then you're fine. These are all things that will be determined as we continue. What is this? Here's a question you haven't yet this year. What is this? I don't know what's happening. Dude, a lot of out of context. Swift or Olave in a standard league? I'm probably playing Swift. Trey Curb 47. We did that. Toast sends in a question. What's up, Toast? Says RBs on bye. Start waiver back. Pacheco, White, or Warren? Yeah, I'm playing Warren there. Thank you. Trade Chase for Swift and Amon-Ra St. Brown in a non-PPR? Yes. Would you trade away Waddle and Fournette for CeeDee Lamb and Miles Sanders? And I'll be keeping Rachaad White. I don't mind it, Jared. I don't mind it. I think it's a pretty balanced way to get. I'm trying to. Oh man, it is actually tough. I think it's a balanced trade overall because I think Waddle's the most valuable prospect of the entire group, while Fournette is probably the least valued. So I think it's balanced in the sense of going 2 for 2, but I could go either way, man. I could convince myself of going either way. I think it depends on what the rest of your running back depth looks like. Like, is Fournette you have to start him every single week. If you do, then we're in a little bit of trouble. Appreciate that, Toast. Thank you. Let's see here. What do we have? Is Darrell Henderson or Allen Robinson worth keeping? Probably Darrell Henderson's worth keeping. Allen Robinson probably most likely not. Is I sit Aaron Jones and start Dalton and Pat from Pittsburgh? No. You play Aaron Jones this week, precision building. Trade CeeDee Lamb for Deebo Samuel? No. I'd rather have CeeDee Lamb. Everett or Dulcich this week, full PPR? I'd rather have Dulcich. Palmer or DK? Godwin, Davis, Khalil Herbert? I'd rather have Godwin. Here's my players. Herbert, Pierce, ETN, Cup, Diggs, Andrews, Jets defense. So looking at your team as a whole, I don't think you need to make any pivots. Like, I think this is just a matter of preference. Like, do you prefer Foreman over Pierce? If you do, you take it and you make that trade. But ultimately, you don't have to make any pivots. You have 2 solid RBs, 2 solid wide receivers, top 2, literally, as in solid wide receivers, you have top 2 wide receivers, top 2 tight end, one of the better defenses, one of the better kickers. Your literal only problem is Herbert. That's it. Otherwise, your roster's stacked. What's the deal with Keenan Allen? Old. That's it. Purely just old. Start Davis or DPJ? I probably play DPJ there, Michael. Actually, well, okay, again, if in fact we see the one and only Josh Allen starting, I'm playing Davis. Because Cameron Dantzler's out, and that secondary is going to be a little bit in trouble going into this week. So, yes, if in fact Josh Allen is active, I'm playing him. Zombie King says, Pittman, Judy, or Zay Jones? I played Judy this week. Thank you. Best streaming option if Allen is out? Who do you have available? I can rattle off my top quarterback rankings as of right now. So as of right now, in terms of guys that may be available, but we'll just mention them all. You'll see this tomorrow morning, but right now, excluding Josh Allen, okay, under the assumption he's out, we would go Hurts, Mahomes, Fields, Tua, Geno, Murray, Prescott, Garoppolo, Brady, Lawrence, Daniel Jones, Justin Herbert, Jacoby Brissett, Kirk Cousins, Derek Carr, Russell Wilson. So if in fact we're in a position where you have Jimmy Garoppolo available, Trevor Lawrence, Daniel Jones, because again, they're coming off bye, Jacoby Brissett, those would be the best options. Thank you. Alrighty. Where are we at? Start 2, Debo, Amari, Lockett, Palmer, PPR. Probably Debo and probably Deep. Oh, man. I want to play Amari as well. Probably go Lockett, man. Oh, my goodness. Probably Debo and Amari in a full PPR. That one's tough. That one actually hurt my soul. Pickens or Gabe Davis? Again, if Josh Allen plays, I'd play Davis. But if not, the decision's made for you at that point. M28. 3 players, keeper league, full PPR. Acquire Lamar for a 4 or Kyler for a 5. What kind of a keeper league is this, RR? So are you keeping like 2 or 3 players every year and then you get to redraft your whole team? Or is this, when you mean keeper, do you mean dynasty? That's the biggest question. So if in fact it's one where you redraft every year and you're keeping like 3 separate players outside of the board, If you're going to acquire Lamar or Kyler, I'd rather have Lamar. Certainly. Oh, yeah, it is a 3-player keeper league. Look, this is what happens. Andrew doesn't read enough, okay? Because the dyslexia kicks in and everything in the ADHD just, fires out on all cylinders. Hey, Andrew, I feel better about trading away JT for Jalen Hurts and Lockett, Jameson Williams now. Yeah, go for it. If you feel better about trading him away, send him. Best streaming option, if Allen is out, we already took care of that. Dulcich or Moreau, I have Dulcich ahead of him. Bench one, Olave, Juju, DK Metcalf. If I'm benching one, it's DK Metcalf. Lockett, Amari, or Olave. I have Olave probably ranked the highest amongst the bunch. Pick 2 PPR, Jeff Wilson, Palmer, Ayuk. I probably play Jeff Wilson and Palmer this week. In a Dynasty half PPR Superflex league, would you trade McLaurin and Monty for Cook? I'm a contender with a young core. Yes, if you're a contender, I would trade for Dalvin Cook in this case. Yes, I would. You should trade Lenny and Connor or McLaurin for a better RB. Who can I trade for Jacobs? Swift? Who can we trade for Jacobs or Swift? Sorry, you said trade Lenny and Connor or McLaurin for a better RB. Yeah, so what I'm referring to is if in fact I'm making a Lenny and Connor move or Lenny and McLaurin move, I don't even think you can get this. I don't. If you can get those guys, by all means, go for it. I don't think you can get those players. What I was referring to is more inclined to going after players that are, if you go to my running back video from yesterday, ranks 13th. My internet died again. How does this keep happening? Come on into your internet. Come on. There we go. Okay, we're better. If you guys could do me a favor, a quick little thumbs up in the chat will let me know that we're back. That would be helpful. Thank you. Also, while you guys are at it, the like button down below certainly does help out a lot. Yeah, in terms of going after a trade where you're sending away Leonard Fournette, I don't think you can get back much, quite frankly. That's why I just want to get rid of him. Because I don't know if it's getting better anytime soon. Corey says, Cousins is going to be playing in the snowstorm under 30 degrees. It's a snowstorm, huh? I haven't checked the weather report yet. I'm starting Carr over Cousins. If it's a snowstorm, legitimate snowstorm, thank you guys for clicking the thumbs up. I appreciate that. Then yes, I'm not playing Mr. Kirk Cousins over Derek Carr. I'd play Carr over him. Let me see here. Brenton sends in a question, says Lenny or Jeff Wilson in a half PPR this week. If I'm not mistaken, I have, let me go see where I have him in my rankings. Yeah, I'm at this point, considering I can't guarantee that. Okay, yeah, my internet's good to go. Thank you. At this point, I would probably still play Lenny over him. I want to hope that Jeff Wilson is the full-time guy, but I think there's a lot of risk implicated in that. Superflex, pick 2 Tannehill or Khalil Herbert. Wait, what? Monty or Rondell. Okay, here's the thing. I want to play Tannehill. I just don't even know if he's actually playing. He could end up just being a game time decision that doesn't end up going. So we got to figure that out by tomorrow. If he does play, I guess I play him at that point. Monty or Rondell Moore or Everett. I'm playing Montgomery. Trade Herbert for Dak. Yes, I would take Dak rest of the season. Godwin, Ayuk, or Jamal Williams in the flex this week. Full PPR, I'd go to Godwin there. Full PPR, Najee, Jeff Wilson, or Ayuk. In a full PPR, I probably lean towards playing Jeff Wilson. AJ Dillon or Alec Pierce, full PPR. Probably going to go with Alec Pierce there. Trade DeAndre Swift for Connor and Godwin. No, keep DeAndre Swift. Monty, Judy, Samuel, Monty. Kirk or Jones? It's Daniel Jones, Michael. Got offered Tyler Boyd for Christian Kirk. Who would you rather have rest of the season? I'd rather have Christian Kirk rest of the season. Francis. Okay, here we go. Let me see the... Okay. Sorry for the confusion. You answered my first question. Okay, cool. The other question, I have J-Rob. Should I drop for Foreman or hold J-Rob? No, absolutely pick up Foreman. What the heck? Yeah. Without a doubt in my mind, Foreman should have already been picked up 3 weeks ago. But yeah, that should be a positional pivot there. Herman sends in a piece of pie, huh? Thank you. Thanks, Herman. Let me see if you had any questions in the chat, my man. Herman says, in a 12-team standard league, who do you prefer rest of the season? Sutton, favorable second half. Pacheco, favorable second half. Or Kieran Williams, A.J. Dillon, or Mooney. So if I get to pick between all these guys to keep one roster spot for all of them, if I'm picking one rest of season, it's either going to be Dillon or Mooney, and I'll tell you why. It's either Dillon because A.J. Dillon could get more utilization with the current injury that Aaron Jones is dealing with, and it could end up catapulting him into a different category of running back, which keeps it like a handcuff with upside kind of position. And or it's Mooney because he's just going to be the number one within that offense that is certainly improving as the weeks progress here. So it's one of those two guys. Thank you. Full PPR, Jamal, Godwin, or Jeff Wilson. In a full PPR, I'm probably playing Godwin, then Jamal, then Jeff Wilson in that order. What about Kirk or Jones rest of the season? Kirk as in Kirk Cousins or Daniel Jones rest of the season? I was talking about this earlier. Maybe you weren't here. Yeah, it's Daniel Jones. That's the guy that I prefer. Everett or Schultz rest of season. Everett or Schultz? Yeah, I'd rather have Schultz by a significant margin. Would you trade Mike Evans for Murray and Swift if Allen is out? I don't mind it. I don't mind that, Dylan. I'd rather have Swift over Mike Evans rest of the season anyway. So the fact that you get Murray as well would be fine by me. Davis or over Ayuk if Allen plays? Yes, I would probably play him over Ayuk. It is a little bit sketchy. Well, actually, no. If it's a snowstorm, it's a legitimate snowstorm. I'm not playing any extensions of him outside of Stephon Diggs. And Singletary would be a significantly higher play. But again, we'll see what the weather is by tomorrow morning. Okay, a couple more questions sent in. Let me go ahead and address those really quickly. Do appreciate you guys clicking the like button down below. I'm probably going to be packing up the stream here in about 15 minutes. Yeah, actually, let me think about this. We'll probably... Let me think about this, actually. More like 15 to 25 minutes. Let's lean towards 25. So at around like 2:50 p.m. PST, that's probably where I'm going to be closing out today's video, okay? Or live stream, thank you. Bad Sport says, DPJ or Sutton over Gabriel Davis? Yeah, probably both of them. Probably both of them. Because if this is legitimately going to be a snowstorm, let me actually look up the NFL weather report. So right now, according to the NFL weather report, we have the Bills in a 34-degree snow game. Let me look at the details here. Yeah, it looks like it's going to be an ice bowl, but I don't know how heavy that snow is going to be. Is it going to be like little snowflakes, or is it going to be 4 inches of snow and we're going to have one of those games where you can only run the ball? You know what I mean? Is it going to be a blizzard, or are we just talking about a normal game? But yeah, I'd probably play DPJ and Sutton over, both of them over Davis if it's a heavy snow game. Precision Building says Sutton or Pickens. I have Pickens ahead of him. Smooth Criminal says my quarterback is Mahomes. We have Watson as well as my second quarterback. We have Taylor, Hunt, Gus, Edwards, and Edmonds. Adam, St. Brown, Chase, Boyd, Pickens, Moreau. Any suggestions? 12-team PPR. Yeah, my main suggestion is to trade Jamar Chase for a running back right now today. I know Jamar Chase is someone that you probably want to keep, but you need running back depth desperately. So that's my primary suggestion. As to who we're going for, give me a top 12 player. That's all I want in return. Because if Chase is going to miss the next couple weeks here, it could also prevent you from making the playoffs. So you need to get some running back depth within your team. Clarence, what's up, Clarence? Hope you're doing well. Says, what's up, Andrew? With McCall Hardman out, do I start Mac Hollins or fire up Kieran Williams for the heck of it? I think it's probably safer to play Mac Hollins in a full PPR format, assuming he can get himself 8 to 10 points. As for another format like a half PPR or a standard league, I think I'm just gonna take the risk and just roll with Kieran Williams there. Thank you. Alrighty, let's see here. Couple more questions that we got to get to. All right, Barry, what was the question? Barry, whatever question you have, just send it to me on Patreon and I'll get to it. I'll get to it right now. Like that's what I'm referring to. Like just send it on Patreon and I'll check it out. Let's see here. Where art thou? Okay, so let me go ahead and answer a couple more questions here. Full PPR: Pollard, Sutton, Devonta Smith, Dylan, or Palmer? 1,000%. 1,000%, Andrew. It's Pollard. 1,000%. How many leagues are you in? And what are your records of each of them? I mean, again, that's a long list. I'm in 13 leagues. There isn't a singular league where I'm outside of the playoff picture. There's not a singular league. So I don't have a dead team this year, which is crazy, but it also has to do with the fact that I'm a monster on the waivers. In every league I am in right now, let me check. So, like, my primary home league, right? My primary home league. This is with, like, my best friends, family, stuff like that, right? I am currently, you know what? I don't even have that many waiver moves in this league. Yo, I'm actually second. Dude, I don't even... Wow. Never mind. In this league, I don't even have to... Well, it's because I'm in first place. Never mind. Again, there's very rarely... Somebody asked me this the other day. Andrew, have you ever placed last in a league? It's impossible. Unless you legitimately look away from your team for multiple weeks, it's impossible to go last place. Now, then again, that's just the way that... Maybe it's just because I have the advantage of being, all the information that I collect. But leagues are looking good right now. I mean, like, the best team... Not even the best team. Let's disregard that, because the best team that I have is a different team. But the team that I'm looking at right now that I was referring to, right? My home league. Okay, I'm 7-2 first place with 200 more points than any other, or actually no, it's like 150 more points than any other team. Okay, it's a super flex format. I mean, the team itself, right, in a super flex league, doesn't seem like it should be a first place team. But when you have, I mean, it honestly doesn't look like a first place team. But I guess when you have Kupp and Waddle dominating every single week with Burrow mixing, somehow, some way, I'm a 7-2 monster team. I think the main reason I'm a 7-2 team in this league is because I have Myers and I have the Cowboys defense. It's probably the reason why. All right, anyway, I got to catch up with some of these questions. My bad. DPJ or Mooney? Mooney. Rondale Moore, Jeff Wilson in a full PPR. Again, it's going to depend on who's playing quarterback tomorrow. If it's Murray, I'd probably play Rondale, but otherwise I'm going with Jeff Wilson. PPR, Smith, Sutton, Palmer, Pollard. Pollard for sure, without a doubt in my mind, Andrew. If I'm picking two, though, the next option there is probably going with Josh Palmer. So Palmer and Pollard. What's up, Andrew? How's it going? Should I trade Amon-Ra St. Brown and Mark Andrews for Tyreek Hill and Pollard? Wow. You know what? I'm not against it. I'm not against the idea. I think there's risk, but I think I'm willing to take the risk there. Superflex pick 2, Tannehill. Okay, yeah. At this point, again, if Tannehill's playing, I'm playing him. That's the whole position that I was in, and I'm playing Montgomery right after. Hey, Andrew, should I start Najee Harris or Darnell Mooney in the flex this week? Full PPR, we get bonus points for every 100 yards. Just because it's a full PPR, I feel more comfortable playing Darnell Mooney. Now, I know that the last time Najee Harris was active, which was prior to his bye week, he had 6 receptions. I think with more potential utilization of Jaylen Warren, we're most likely in a position where Mooney's going to outscore him, especially considering the matchup going up against the Detroit Lions secondary, which again can't stop a soul. Sit Lenny, Swift, or Sanders? I'm sitting Lenny this week. Or should we try to... Wait, what does it say? And who should we start between Freiermuth or Everett? Freiermuth is the play. So it's Fryer, Swift, and Sanders this week. They're Adam. Thank you. Cooper or Higgins rest of season? Cooper or Higgins rest of season? Probably who? Yeah, it's probably Cooper. It's probably Cooper in my mind. Let's see here. Brandon Ayuk or Jamal Williams full PPR? I probably still play Jamal. I mean, look, Brandon Ayuk has been great. I'm just thinking to myself, if McCaffrey's going to garner 7 to 8 receptions out of the backfield per game, Kittle's going to get his work. Debo's finally back. It's a game in which they take on the Chargers where they're really just going to run the ball in the entire game. It may not be a week for Ayuk to have one of those proper 8 catches, 70-yard monster games. So at that point, I'm leaning towards Jamal Williams. Hollins or DPJ in a full PPR? I probably play DPJ there this week. Jeff Wilson or Ayuk? Who's a safer play? Safe is a very loaded. Safer play is Ayuk. And the reason why is because we don't know Jeff Wilson is the starter. I'm assuming he's the starter. Unless someone has a Reddit article that wants to let me know that someone knows the equipment manager for the team and they know that Jeff Wilson's starting. At that point, then we could have a conversation. Otherwise, it is what it is. In Superflex, who's your 3 quarterbacks. Oh, Corey. What a team here I have. In my home league, look at the let me line this up. Look at what I have to start this week, okay? Look at what I have to start this week. I got to start Davis Mills and Taylor Heineke. Can I get this thing to focus correctly? No, it's not going to focus. And the green screen is going to mess it up. Okay. This team consists of Davis Mills, Cooper Kupp, Jalen Waddle, DJ Moore, who already played. Don't care about DJ Moore. Doesn't make a difference to me. I have everybody else on bye on my bench. Fournette, Khalil Herbert has to start this week. Pat Freiermuth, Deontay Johnson, Taylor Heineke. Okay. This is a 12-team Superflex league with 9 bench spots. Okay. And 2 IR spots, kicker defense. My bench consists of Mixon, Burrow. Okay, so my quarterbacks. Let's just put this in perspective. I have Carson Wentz on the IR. Otherwise, I have Burrow, Heineke, Davis Mills, and Deshaun Watson. And I'm first place in this league to the point where, let me make sure nobody, yeah. I'm first place in this league by a pretty significant margin to where I'm first place. Oh, is he going to focus? Is he going to focus? Focus. Come on. It's not going to focus, dude. I got 1,378 points, while the next best team, 1,224. Pretty ridiculous. Maybe it was that 50-point mixing game, huh? Oh, man. It's okay. The issue with that league is that no one in that league trades with me. Those are my best friends and family, and they don't want to trade with me because they know I'm already in first place, and they can't afford to give me anything, so I don't get any fun out of that league anyway. Whether I win or lose, there's no fun to be had. Because if I win, everyone expected Andrew to win. If I lose, everyone's going to shit talk me. You know what I mean? It's just, there's no winning in life anymore. Fantasy's just, it's pain. That's all it is. You got me on a rant. Moving on. Smooth Criminal says, trade Chase for Aaron Jones or Foreman. Sure. Down with that. At that point, at least it gives you a little bit of upside for the remaining weeks. So at least you can get into I wouldn't do it for Aaron Jones, though. Dave Curtis says full PPR, flex, DPJ, Herbert, Zay Jones, or Dylan. DPJ, Herbert. Yeah, at this point, I'm playing DPJ there. Jose Torres says, should I drop Justin Herbert for Brissett? No, I wouldn't drop him. I have Watson for weeks 13. Yeah, I wouldn't drop him, though. No, I wouldn't make that drop. In fact, I would rather play Herbert over Brissett even this week. Sebastian Alex, thank you very much, says flex 2, Wan'Dale Robinson, Gallup, Carter, Kieran Williams. Wan'Dale Robinson, Gallup, Carter, Kieran Williams. If I'm starting 2 out of this group, it's DeAndre Carter and Kieran Williams. Frank Grillo says Dak or Herbert. I have Dak. Man, Frank, it's hilarious that you have that same name. Every time, man. Every time. Garrett sent in a question. Garrett, let's see what you got here, my man. Garrett says, what are the prize picks for this week? Yeah, let's go over that right now. Thank you, Garrett. Appreciate that. All right, let's go ahead and let's set this up. Barry, did you send in a question on Patreon? Because I can get to the, yeah. Barry says, all right, let me get to Barry's question here. He says, hey, dude, I think, okay, let me just read this separately. Yes, Barry, I would definitely be playing DeAndre Swift this week over Jeff Wilson Jr. The update will probably come, I'll probably post it on Patreon at like 1 to 2 a.m. That's typically what I like to do because around the a.m. standard time, there's a lot of information that comes out from Adam Schefter and Ian Rappaport in regards to inactives and actives that are like on the fringe. They get a little bit of insight because, again, they are insiders. So for right now, yes, I'm for sure, without a doubt in my mind, playing Swift over Wilson. But yeah, I appreciate that, Barry. All right, let's go ahead and let's travel the prize picks real quick. Let's make a couple entries here. Or let me just show you guys a couple of the picks that I actually like this week in specific. Let's move that to the second monitor. And then where do I want to go? I want to go, how do I want to do this? I think this is how I want to do this. Yes. Yes. Okay. This is how I want to do this. Let's turn, and we can leave that on there, actually. We can turn off this YouTube chat. Okay. So, prize picks, guys. If you guys haven't played yet already, you haven't signed up, you can do so today using promo code Andrew. You'll be given a first-time deposit match up to $100. So basically, your first-time deposit match is doubled immediately up to $100. So if you deposit $50, you'll be given $50. The entire point of prize picks is to pick more or less on a given player statistic, right? So when we're talking about the NFL, and I know there's a lot of stuff. I mean, there's college football. There's I know there's a UFC event tonight. Is UFC even in here? Where is it? MMA. I don't know anything about this, right? I just like watching it. I just don't know what's going to happen. You know what I mean? But either way, let me go ahead and let me move McCaffrey out of my face. Okay, McCaffrey, you can sit up there, my guy. In terms of the NFL, okay, a couple of the ones that I was looking at earlier today. Now, this is something new that they've recently added. Now, I don't know how often this is going to be here, and hopefully it remains for continuous weeks. Basically, the entire impetus of these picks are, hey, can DK Metcalf and Noah Fant together as a group, right, score more than one touchdown this week, right? So when I look at this, I think to myself, okay, there's a wait, where's the one that I put in earlier this week? Wait, there's one that I put in earlier that's gone, right? Am I crazy? 1 second. Let me actually check something. I'm actually curious. Did one of my entry, okay, because I made an entry earlier this week. Yeah, okay. So I got one that is kind of hidden. So let me show you guys. Do you guys see this on my screen now? So this is an entry that I made earlier this week. Okay, these are a couple of the entries that I've already made, right? Just like $5 plays. So right now, I put in one for Saquon Barkley going more than 19.5 fantasy points. Again, I'm expecting him to ball out against the Houston Texans, right? Actually, let me move myself here. Boop, boop, boop. So 19.5 fantasy points. You see that, right? Okay, cool. And then there was a play of Justin Fields and Cole Kmet more than 0.5 touchdowns. Bro, that was an automatic. I immediately took that. I was like, wait, did they make a mistake? Justin Fields is going to he's going to score a touchdown. Like, that's a given. So anyway, this is no longer there because as you can see, by the way, we have Schultz going over 31 receiving yards and Mooney going over 11 fantasy points. What was the other one that I had here? Yeah, we'll go over the kickers one in just a moment. So let me close this. So now that you can see, there is no more Justin Fields. Somebody made a mistake. I should have put more money down. It's okay. But in terms of touchdown upside, right? Like, a lot of these are sketchy. They are, purely because you're just hoping for touchdowns, but at least you have a better shot because there's two players being implicated within a singular play. Like Amon-Ra and Mooney, that's not bad. Where's Kmet? Wait, Kmet and Justin Fields is still here. Wait, I'm crazy. What do you mean? Wait, whoa. Why is it still here? Am I crazy? Justin Fields and Kmet. One touchdown between the two of them. It's not a matter of like Fields throwing to Kmet, right? It's just a matter of one of them scoring a touchdown this week. Because like Amon-Ra is not throwing a touchdown to Darnell Mooney. It's one or the other scoring a touchdown. It's not both of them scoring a touchdown. Otherwise, the number would be 1.0. Dude, this is a take, guys. This is the one we take. I thought it was gone. This is the one that we take, without a doubt. I'm actually going to put in another entry for this right now. I don't understand this. Hold on, wait. I got to understand the rules here. Maybe I'm completely getting it twisted. Let me see the how to play. No, that's not it. I want to figure out this one specifically. No, it doesn't have anything to do with this. Hold on, wait. I got to find this because I need a legitimate explanation for this. I've got to have an email for this. I'm pretty sure there is. In terms of like, what the heck is going on with this thing? Okay. Touchdown combos. Okay, here we go. So, introducing touchdown combos. For the first time ever, you can pick more or less on a combo TD projection for multiple players. Dude, this is it. This is the play. Justin Fields is scoring a touchdown this week. Why is he on this list? Guys, why is he on this list? I don't get it. Okay, anyway. Forget it. It doesn't matter. Okay, the other play I really liked, again, was Dalton Schultz going over 31.5 receiving yards. The reason why primarily I like that is because Dalton Schultz, throughout the first 3 games of the season this year, has, with Dak Prescott in the lineup, okay, has always gone over that number. Now, you may be thinking, well, Andrew, he hasn't played in quite some time. I understand that. But when you go ahead and you look at the last 2 weeks with Dak Prescott, really good numbers. He's led the team in terms of total receptions in the last 2 weeks. Fantastic. Let's turn off McCaffrey. He doesn't need to be here. He's led the team in terms of total receptions the last 2 weeks, and receiving yards have been a pretty good number overall. Now, outside of that, even if you go back to week 1 with Tampa Bay, prior to Dak Prescott leaving that game with an injury, he surpassed this number. So this automatically is the more. So we're going to take more on this. We're going to take more on this. Maybe someone in the chat could actually tell me if I'm absolutely losing my mind. Yeah, no, I understand it's rushing and receiving, but when I'm thinking about Jalen Hurts, I mean, Justin Fields rushing, he's okay. Yes, it's not passing touchdown. Now I understand it. Thank you. From my perspective, though, the dude's running in a touchdown probably 3 weeks in a row. I'll take the risk. That's fine. I still think it's a good one. Yes, it's not passing touchdown. Thank you. Thank you for the clarification, everybody. That definitely helps. Now, the other plays that I liked, legitimately, and these are ones that I make in for every single time that I come out here. I always like taking more on kickers. Like, look at Jason Myers. 4 out of the last 5, right? Pretty good. What about Ryan Suckup? 4 out of the last 5. Pretty good. How about Cade York? Pretty inconsistent, but at least has been better than a couple of these other guys. Who's another stud kicker? We always like Graham Gano. Graham Gano's a stud. 4 out of the last 5. These are the kind of plays that I actually like making. Like, I'm actually gonna go for a 5-leg one. I'm going all the way. So if I do 5 legs here, and okay, what about 4? What if I get rid of like Carlson theoretically? What is the entry? So it's the same? Okay, it's the same. And in this way, I can make a flex, theoretically. Must hit 3 out of the 4, and then you... Okay, I'm just going to play it like this. Okay, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to make this entry. So those are the plays, right? The field slash... Even with Fields rushing and receiving, doesn't matter. I think Cole Kmet probably scores a touchdown this week. And Fields has a really high likelihood of running one in. So either way, take that. Take Dalton Schultz. Take a couple of these kickers. Specifically, my 2 favorite kickers of the week, Jason Myers and Graham Gano, to make field goals, or specifically make 2 field goals in the game. There are a lot of other plays, like there's rushing attempts that I typically like to go after. It's just a matter of I mean, I think probably David Montgomery surpasses this. Probably Dameon Pierce surpasses it. Again, there's a lot of entries to make. You guys got to go check them out yourself. We'll have better picks tomorrow morning. I got to look these over because I've only just added a couple of these as of late. Okay, now that we've covered that, let's go ahead. Let's turn this sucker off. Let's do that. And then let's throw McCaffrey back on the board. Put him down here. Look at that. YouTube chat back up. Thank you very much. Couple donations sent in. Let's go ahead and address them really quickly before we continue. Okay, so... we had, after Frank, we had Precision Building said, Schultz or Freiermuth, half PPR. This week, who do I have ahead of him? This week, right now, I have Dalton Schultz at number 7, Pat Freiermuth at number 6. So I'm going with Pat Freiermuth this week. Bald God, it says, PPR, Ayuk or Jonathan Taylor. I'm playing Jonathan Taylor this week. Bald God, thank you very much. Thank you, my bald brother. Johnny, not Bravo, says, traded Fournette plus Deontay Johnson for CeeDee Lamb. Is that a good trade? I think it's a good trade. Yeah, I think it is. Ultimately, it will be. Because again, wait, that doesn't say Fournette. It says Foreman. Dude, my dyslexia is kicking in every time, dude. Foreman and Deontay Johnson for CeeDee Lamb. I could go either way there. I think it depends on what the heck that running back, depth looks like going forward. But, yeah, I mean, I could go either way, I think, on that one. Like, seriously. Because if your running back depth needed Foreman to play every week, henceforth, it could be a sketchy play there. Aaron Jones or Pollard if Zeke is out. If Zeke is out, Pollard is 1,000%. I honestly think that tomorrow morning, you're going to see Pollard in my top 5 rankings. I'm not kidding. I'm fairly certain I'm gonna put him there because I expect Zeke to be out. So to answer this question, it would be Dylan over Zeke just off of the fact that there's no Zeke. Would you stash J.K. Dobbins and drop Waller? If you have a solid tight end for the fantasy playoffs, yes, I would. But I don't think you need either of these guys, quite frankly. I mean, if they're the best options, then sure, but I don't think you need these guys because even when J.K. Dobbins comes back, he's going to be sketchy, and I don't think you can start Waller on the first week back off of an injury. Would you trade ETN and A.J. Brown for Diggs, Lazard, and Ayuk? No, I'd keep ETN and A.J. Brown there, Rel. Would you trade Najee Harris for Dalton Schultz? I have Saquon and Kamara. I don't need it. I don't even play Najee Harris. Yeah, if you don't have a tight end and you need to make an upgrade here, I'm fine with this. What does it say? Should I trade Kelsey for Everett, Juju, Godwin? If you're in desperate need of receiving depth to the point where this is a huge difference maker to your team because you have to start guys like Nico Collins every week, then sure, I'm okay with this trade. But if you're not in a desperate, need for wide receiver depth, then you just probably keep Kelsey because, I mean, it's Kelsey. But again, I don't know what the rest of your team looks like. We took care of precision there. Okay. I need a tight end, Otton, Fant, or Knox. This week, I have Fant ahead of the rest. Do I start Kyler or Fields this week? Fields. Heineke or Wilson at quarterback? Wilson. Thielen or Moore? Appreciate that, Tyrone. Would you stat? Okay, we already took care of that. Yeah, it's rushing for Fields. I think Andrew thinks it's just a TD. Yes, I did. I honestly did think it was just a TD. But even with it just being rushing and receiving, I'm still taking it. I'm still confident in the matter. Again, they're playing the Lions of all teams. So if they don't do it, again, I don't mind getting burnt on it. I put a $5 entry in. It's not a big deal. I'm willing to, not eat a sandwich later on this week in exchange for it. Johnny Not Bravo says, I have Derrick Henry and ETN at my running back positions. Any idea when Chase is coming back? My assumption of Chase is probably week 12. And considering you have Henry and ETN, you're fine. You're definitely fine. And considering you probably have Chase, now that you're asking me that question, yeah, you're going to need the wide receiver depth, which is good to go there. NGA says, can Dameon Pierce stay healthy with such high volume rest of the season? I think he can, mainly because, and this is why I'll tell you, I think he stays healthy just because he doesn't have much mileage on his body in his past. At Florida, he only had, 100 total touches his final year there prior to being drafted to the NFL. So he hasn't had, if you go back to, let's say, for example, David Montgomery at Iowa State, coming out his final year, the dude had 400 touches that year, right? A lot of running backs prior to getting into the NFL who have a lot of wear and tear on their body cannot sustain it in the NFL. Right? While other guys who have not had a lot of touches come in, make plays, get 27 touches a week, and they're fine for a certain given amount of time. And then eventually their bodies will eventually fall apart. But for right now, I think he's fine. If you want NGA, pick up Rex Burkhead because that's his immediate handcuff if anything is to happen, and he could have value. The Payson says, PPR league, my number one wide receiver is the Sun God. Should my second wide receiver be Pittman or Devonta Smith this week? I would play Devonta Smith against Washington. Last time he played against them, he put up 27 fantasy points. Had himself a monster week. I'm expecting him to at least have some semblance of success. Kirk or Palmer this week? I have Kirk ahead of Palmer. When is Hollywood coming back? Next week, Corey. Kirk, okay, we took care of that. Hey, Andrew, what does it say? Full PPR, Deontay Johnson, Tony Pollard, Dulcich, or Schultz? Pollard and Dulcich. Is Zeke playing tomorrow? Andrew, I don't believe he is. Let me scroll back up here. Trade Darrell Henderson for Dobbins? No, I'd probably just keep Darrell Henderson. Foster Moreau or Tyler Higbee this week? I have Foster Moreau higher than him. Where do you rank Zeke just in playoffs? Where do I rank Zeke just in playoffs? I don't know if he's going to be healthy by the time we even get there. So I'd probably keep him as an RB3. He's an RB3 in the fantasy playoffs because if, for example, Tony Pollard continues to carry this team week in and week out for the next 4 weeks here until we get to the fantasy playoffs, why would they put Zeke in? They wouldn't. They would avoid that. So they don't have to. Okay, I just want to do this really quickly. Boom, bang, bop. Let's move here. Couple more questions that were just typed in right now. We have Ernesto says, hi, Andrew. My team is Hurts, Dameon Pierce, Justin Jefferson, Deontay Johnson, Wan'Dale Robinson, Rondell Moore, Garrett Wilson, Brandon Cooks, Mark Andrews. My other running backs are Algier, Brian Robinson, and Pacheco. Should I try to make a move? Yeah, I mean, at this point, considering you don't have another stable running back, it may be in your best interest to definitely make a move to acquire one. As to who you're acquiring, I guess you could make a move for Jeff Wilson prior to another one of these bigger weeks that he could have theoretically and establishes himself as that back. You could try to buy low on Cordero Patterson after this last week. You could also be in a position where, I mean, look, if you're moving players, you're going to probably have to move. If you want to acquire a running back, you're probably going to have to give Algier and or Brian Robinson or both, and then you're going to probably have to give another one of your stud options. So you might have to give away Garrett Wilson. If you're not able to, maybe you take Mark Andrews and you break him off and get a tight end and a running back in exchange for him. Try to get a lower tier running back or RB2 and a top 5 tight end rest of the way. Like get a Goddard and a Miles Sanders, bring them back to your team and let's hope, Do you think Foreman and Godwin are too much to give up for Jamar Chase? I have Evans, Lazard, Judy. Okay, Evans, Lazard, Judy. So if you get, okay, so Evans and Chase Evans and Chase would be the guys, and then Lazard would be number 3. And then you have Christian McCaffrey, Stevenson, and Jeff Wilson. Do I think it's giving up too much? I think it depends on your roster, right? So if in fact you're in a position where you can ensure that without a doubt you're making the playoffs, I think it's okay to make this trade. But I think it's probably in your best interest to have Foreman as that third running back in your flex position rest of the way. That's my opinion. Start Najee Harris or Jeff Wilson. I have Jeff Wilson ahead of him this week. Which side wins this trade? D-Hop and Swift or Pearson Andrews? probably D-Hop and Swift, assuming D-Hop maintains his similar semblance of value rest of the way here, even when Hollywood returns. And Swift right now is healthy and actually going to be a good option, right? If a healthy Swift is legitimately a higher scoring, contributor than anybody in that conversation, but he's got to be healthy. And we have this week to confirm that, and then future weeks to, of course, reap the rewards of it. Garoppolo or Trevor Lawrence? Carlos, I go Garoppolo. Dak or Murray? DJ, I'd go Dak. Dulcich is available in a PPR league. I currently have Pitts. I would drop Pitts. Should I drop one of these guys? Yeah, I'd drop Pitts. I did that in one of my other leagues earlier this week. I dropped Pitts for Dalton Schultz rest of the season because somebody last week dropped him for the bye week, and I was like, hey, don't mind if I do. Let me scoop that up real quick. Start Danny Dimes or Kyler with Rondale Moore. Again, if Kyler's playing, I'd probably roll with him there, Corey. Need 3 in a full PPR, says Mark and Megan. PPR, Swift, Gibson, McLaurin, or Jamal Williams. Out of the group, I'm playing Swift, McLaurin, and Jamal Williams. Thank you. Goddard or Schultz this week? It's Goddard for sure. Do I start Mike Evans in Germany or Alan Lazard against the Cowboys secondary? I'm playing Mike Evans in Germany. Again, somebody in the chat earlier was saying greetings from Germany, right? Let me check here. My only question is, are you going to the game? There you go. Here he is. Kirk or Lazard? This week I'm playing Kirk in a full PPR. Thanks from Germany. You better be going to the game, my guy. You better be going to the game. That'd be a fun one. Am I crazy to start Jamal Williams and Swift? No. That's actually what I'm suggesting in a lot of scenarios if you have both of them, so that you don't miss out on any value. Would you would you do Chase and ETN for Swift and Jamal Williams in London? I'd rather have Chase and ETN rest of the way there, Bill. Thank you. Komet or Ingram? I have Komet ahead of them. Ahead of Ingram there, Andy. Sorry, let me throw the chat back up on screen so you guys know what I'm talking about. So yeah, I'd rather play Komet there. Metcalf for Jamal Williams, I'd play Metcalf. Trade Garrett Wilson and Jacobs for Kamara. My wide receivers are Debo. Yes, I'm okay with that. Give me Kamara rest season. Should I start Jamal or Swift? If you're picking one or the other, it's Swift. Who should I start as wide receiver 1 and 2 in the flex? We have Jamal, we have Amari Cooper, we have Pittman, Palmer, Lazard. Amari Cooper and Juju are my 1 and 2. The flex would then just be Lazard there. Okay, guys. It's 2:55. That's pretty much where I kind of wanted to go up until. Tomorrow morning, we will have an opportunity to answer more questions. Again, tomorrow morning, 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time here on the channel, we will be live streaming with updated rankings on screen. It will include my top 36 running backs and wide receivers, top 16 quarterbacks and tight ends on screen in order to give you guys an indication as to where I'm going. It'll be up to date with all of the information regarding weather, injury, inactives, actives, potential upside, all of that. We'll be answering questions for 2 hours tomorrow morning, probably more. The stream is set for 8 o'clock. I usually start at about 7:54, something like that. Whenever I'm ready, I send it. So join us tomorrow morning. I'll be able to answer your questions. We'll, of course, talk about updated kickers and defensive rankings if there's anything to be made. The only difference is I'm probably removing Tennessee and adding a different defense at the back end of that. Otherwise, we're good to go. I appreciate you guys joining us today. If you guys haven't yet already, click the like button down below. Check out PrizePicks if you're interested in making some entries for this upcoming weekend. Use promo code Andrew, because once you make that first-time deposit, you'll be given a first-time deposit match up to $100. So they double your first-time deposit. So if you're interested, check that out. There's a link down in the description. Outside of that, there's a video right here. My hand's getting cut off by the green screen. There's a video down here. Rest of season rankings for the running back position, which includes my rest of season strength of schedule, weeks 11 through 14 and 15 through 17 for a half PPR. And well, actually, it's not even for a half PPR. It's for all formats, because I don't actually take into account receiving work, because receiving work doesn't make any difference in terms of running back matchup. It's all rushing statistics. So actually, it's for all formats in terms of the strength of schedule. Now, as for the actual rankings, those are for half PPR, meeting everyone in the middle. You guys can check that out today. And if you want to make some trades, that should give you an indication as to where I value these players. I do appreciate y'all. And until tomorrow morning, much love. Someone said Lazard or Mac Hollins. I'm playing Lazard. And until tomorrow, guys, I'm cueing the music, and we'll see you then. Bright and early. Oh, also, hold up. Before the music cranks off here, reminder: tomorrow morning we have Mike Evans, Godwin, Brady, Fournette, Lockett, Metcalf, Walker, Fant, Geno, they all have to be started before the game starts, which is at 6:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, 9:30 a.m. Eastern, 8:30 Central. So if, in fact, you're in a position where you got to start these guys, make sure your lineups are ready to go prior to that morning game in Germany. Okay, thank you very much. There's a fair warning.